There we go. We're starting to record right now. Dude, I decided, before we get started, as people roll in, I decided to make this episode 25 of Tea with Unjacked. Because I'm literally having tea with you, and I was like, I'm not branding another podcast.
Oh.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
So
Why rebrand?
I know, right? Let's see. The only thing I'll tell the audience right now, anybody that's coming in, is I'm not going to read the chat. I'm not engaging with the chat today. I still love you guys. I'm going to put all my focus on the Havrix. We're going to have a conversation, and you guys get to listen in. But for all intents and purposes, I'm not going to acknowledge the audience until the end of the podcast, where we'll allow them to ask up to 10 questions to either of us. So I've already set up the channel points. Everybody should be good. It only takes like the first or second time, and then everybody will be like, oh, I know how this works. So anyway, we're moving in.
You're gonna get a bunch of comments about how you're ignoring them.
Oh, wait until YouTube comments. I can't wait to read those. Those should give me stage 5 cancer as soon as this goes up.
YouTube comments are the best. Come on. YouTube comments are like product comments. You only read the bad ones.
I know.
Those are the ones that matter.
It's like, I only want the ones that really hurt.
Yeah.
I actually
best thing is when you look for like a waterproof thing and someone's like, ugh, it wasn't waterproof enough. I was walking up a mountain unzipped and it just like kept getting wet. And you're like, what?
Dude, so this one time I actually had a really bad YouTube comment. I was driving home from work. I was in Albuquerque, and I was driving on this long stretch by myself. So I take out my phone and I get an email saying I got a new YouTube comment. Now, keep in mind, at this point, I have like a total of like maybe 10 YouTube videos that I've done over the course of like 7 years. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody knows anything about me. And then I read the comment and it says, I hope you and your family die in a car fire. And I was like, wow.
That hit way too hard.
Yeah, I was like, God damn, I don't know if this is legit today. I don't know if we can't start like this.
I had someone like, I don't even remember what it said, but like completely trashed on one of my videos, but like in a different language too. So I like had to Google translate it. So I had to like take an extra step to get insulted.
Oh,
so,
dude, that's the worst, man, when they make you work for it.
Yeah. I like read it and I was like, that was just an insult. That wasn't even about the video. Like,
I know. Sometimes they really try for that reaction. And once in a while, I didn't respond or anything, because that's the worst part you can do to a troll, is give them what they really, really want, a response.
Oh yeah. Well, when I'm streaming, if someone like says something rude or something, I just go with it. Like I always just go with it, because it just I've made people get so mad because they like make fun of me, and I'll just be like, yeah, you're right, and they're just like, no, don't agree.
I'm curious, but what is like do you have like a worse like situation where you've been streaming and somebody come in and just said something so bad that you're just like, no?
I don't think so, actually. Like, I kind of just rolled it normally, because like when I was younger, I used to get bullied. So I just like, you either go with it or you bully them back.
Yeah.
Because that's just, I don't know, just how I always dealt with it.
I was never big enough to bully anybody back.
Oh, see, it had nothing to be big enough. It was like, I don't know, this is going to sound really cocky, but I knew I was smarter than them. So I like figured I could always figure out like what they would be insecure about while they were bullying me. So I just like set it back and then just like, fuck, and just like walked away. Oh man.
One of the worst things growing up in the 80s was everybody thought like you could like become gay. Like you like it was like contagious or something. Like if you were around somebody and they were all like, dude, you're gay now. We're like, what? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. And then like, so growing up in the early 90s, I remember in particular in high school, there was this one kid he kept teasing my friend, like picking on him and telling him he's gonna kick his ass and stuff like that after school. And so I got him back. I'm really good at drawing and stuff like that, and I kind of come up with like creative solutions that help everybody or not. So I created this poster like of a gay party at his house, at this kid's house. And at like 2:00 in the morning, I went down to the convenience store and I made 500 copies. It cost me like $25 or whatever at the time. And literally my whole backpack was filled with these flyers. And we spread it all over his town. So everybody in his town knew that he was having a gay party at his house.
That's great.
It was like one of the worst things you could tell. I mean, now nobody, everybody would be like, oh, that's funny. But as a kid, dude, it was weird things, man. As a kid, what really, like, I don't know how old you are. I'm 42. So, like, I experienced the full 80s. I experienced the 90s in its entirety. And culture has shifted so much since then. I don't know. So I get back at people in different ways. That was one way I did it.
So I'm 26. So
okay. No. That gives me a lot of reference though. So you missed the decades that we could actually get away with stuff.
Yes. Yeah. So when you bullied someone, it had to be subtle because like you got in trouble for bullying someone, even if they bullied you back. Like even if they started it. So, like, some kid used to pick on me in the bus because, like, well, honestly, it was because I had nicer clothes than him. So he used to say that I was gay because I wore nicer clothes.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, just leave me. Like, why are you even talking to me? Like, I don't even understand why you're talking to me in general.
Yeah.
Because I am not an approachable person, but somehow people talk to me. I don't know what that's about. But he just like kept saying it over and over. So like after like 6 months, I just like got up, like basically held him up in the air because he was smaller than me. And I was like, I'm not gay just because my parents don't buy all my clothes at the Salvation Army store. Like, and he just like blank face, just like had no idea what to do. And then it was nice to me after that. Like, yeah. And I was like, well, found what you were insecure about.
Right. I'm so glad as a society, for the most part, not entirely, but for the most part, we have moved on from like those kind of insults. So,
yeah.
Dude, before we get too far in though, I want to ask because, I know that you're a little, you do some game dev and stuff like that. Some of the audience was wondering like what makes you you? Like, who are you? Like, what are you about? Do you want to just like give me a couple lines, like, so people kind of know what we're working with here?
Wow, what a hard question to put me on the spot on.
I know, right? Well, you can think about it. You don't have to like, come out. But people are wondering, like, have you worked on games? Are you like, how long have you been streaming? Maybe something like that.
Yeah. So I have 3 games made by myself, which honestly were really just to like get on my resume. 2 of them I made in college. They're mobile apps. One of them's called Common Colors, and the other one's called Marble Slam. They're like just dumb little games that like you can play when you're bored, and that's literally what I did. I just made them so I could play it when I was bored. And then I released a Steam game because that always looks good on your resume.
Yeah, actually it does.
So what was that one? That one's called The Adventures of Willow and Ash. It's like, it's not great, but it's like a little platformer. But I designed it so you could like speed run it or like actually explore. And then I have a couple games I worked on with studios. One of them's called Halloween Defense. It's for the Microsoft HoloLens. You should never make games for the HoloLens, by the way. It's got the processing power of like a flip phone.
Yeah.
But that's beside the point. And then I worked on it's this game that it's for bars in Vegas that like you can like play beer pong while you're sitting at the bar.
Oh, nice.
And I don't think I'm allowed to say the name of that one, actually.
Okay. No worries. No worries. So that just gives everybody a little idea, like, what you are. But for the streaming though, how long have you been streaming? When was I didn't actually look at your Social Blade or anything before this.
I've technically so I've been streaming like off and on for a few years. Like I actually got affiliate maybe 2 years ago,
Okay.
and that's when I was streaming game dev stuff. Actually, I was streaming like me making the Adventures of Willow and Ash, and
Hmm.
that's when I got affiliate. Um, but I don't know. I think I've been streaming for like actually like started like really streaming and actually streaming like every day at the same time and everything
Yeah.
maybe 8 months ago. I was streaming Dungeon Defenders Awakened at first.
Okay. All right. So that just kind of wow, I feel like I'm really new too. Like a lot of the people I know on Twitch, I've only met in 2020 because wow, you started like a few months after me. Much like you, I dabbled for a couple years. I did like one or two streams, and I was like, I'm gonna take a little time off and get good at this.
Yeah.
Kind of like find myself before I put myself out there. But yeah, it's
Maybe I should stop and actually put some effort in real quick. And
yeah. Well, for me, it was I sat down. I think I got a little disappointed one day. I was playing Path of Exile live, and it was like I want to say it was like mid 19 or whatever, and I had tried maybe 5-6 sessions live on Twitch, and it turned out that nobody watched me. Like even though I was talking, I was doing everything I do now, and everybody, when people come to the stream, they're like, "Oh wow, this is pretty cool." I'm like, "Damn, where were you like 2 years ago?" I was doing the same thing, but I thought to myself like, "Okay, it must be me. Like there's something I'm not doing. Like I'm not working the audience enough. I'm not like doing the right content." And so I made a kind of like an internal deal with myself. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go watch like two or three like top streamers and see what I can take away from it and see if that helps get hopefully it would help me like become a better streamer, like kind of like know the do's and don'ts and everything else. So I don't know. Have you ever done that? Like, do you do that? Do you look at other streamers and kind of like maybe not like try to copy them, but like maybe just kind of like see what they do right and see what they do wrong and try to avoid or copy, I guess you could say.
Yeah. So I actually watched a bunch of YouTube videos on like how to grow and stuff because I knew from basically doing the same thing you did in the past of just like sitting there and playing games that the algorithm in Twitch is garbage.
Yeah.
So you need to do everything you can to actually get people to watch you. So like I would be streaming like League of Legends or something, and it's like you are never going to get viewers streaming League of Legends because so many people stream it and there's a whole pro circuit. Why would anyone watch you instead of watching a pro?
Right.
So like I was like, "Oh, I guess I could stream like an indie game because like I love playing indie games anyway. Like I play smaller games all the time, but I guess like I never thought why would you want to watch that?"
That's
And
a
then
fair
like
point.
once I started actually playing those games, people started watching. So uh but yeah, I don't know. I definitely I would watch people that were like small streamers because I guess in my mind I would never be a big streamer.
Hmm.
So I was like, and depending when they started streaming, like if you started streaming like even well, I guess it's 2021 now. So if you started streaming like 10 years ago, you could literally just play a game and people would watch you. Like you didn't even have to talk. You didn't need a camera, you didn't need to talk. You could have terrible audio
Right. You
and
just
just like, be half decent at Call of Duty and you'd get 10,000 people watching you. But like that's not how it works anymore. Like you have to
no.
try. Like you have to try. You have to have like decent audio. You have to have decent video. You need to have like shit behind you where people are like, why is nothing behind you? Like, and you need to like actually try more. And I think I got a lot of that knowledge from like just the YouTube videos of people I'd watch and things like that. And then watching smaller streamers.
Do you do YouTube?
What do you mean?
Like,
Do I
like
make,
do you have like an active YouTube channel?
yeah,
I
I make,
you sent me videos, but like, are you like very active on it? Because I know that I've promoted your video on the stream before, but I don't know if it's something that you do like on a regular basis.
so I make mostly Dungeon Defenders Awaken videos
Okay.
because that's where most of my audience is from, and I know a lot about that game, and for whatever reason, most of the community doesn't. Like, I'm in a Discord channel of like all the content creators for that game,
Yeah,
and a lot of us play together and talk about all the different things and stuff. And like, we're the ones that update the Wikipedia page, like, because the developers don't and things like that. So
that's
I
crazy.
get most of my views from that. So I make mostly those videos. So I started making some Bloons videos, but
Yeah. Well,
the it's saturated with all the people that make the videos.
dude, it's
Like,
amazing to me how many people are now in the balloons category from like a year ago when I started. Like
yeah,
the amount of people, like I never really look very often, but like at night if I'm scrolling through and maybe like once a month, I'll go through and just kind of like see who's on. And I find like I don't know anybody. I actually don't know anybody that's playing like outside of my time zone. Like the only reason why I really met you guys have rated me. My audience will like talk about you guys, and that's probably been the most like successful part. But yeah, Balloons has gotten so much bigger. What made you come over to Balloons? I'm curious. I don't think I've ever asked you that.
um, so DDA, their patches are very slow, like crawling slow. And I played like from patch like the first one to 1.1 and like waiting for 1.2. I was like, okay, I can't just like farm this game for another 4 months doing the same exact thing over again.
Yeah,
So I was like, what else could I do? And then I was like, oh, I guess I could play Balloons because like that's always been the game I played on my phone.
it's always the fallback game, dude.
Yeah, like, but that's like the only game that's been on my phone, like basically since I had a phone. Like from like the iPhone 1, I had like Balloons 3 on it. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah.
that game that like I always casually played. And I was like, oh, I can get it on Steam. Like it's not a flash game anymore. I'm like, what is this? Because the first one I played was like on addictinggames.com. And you used to like sit
Oh,
there when you're supposed to be in computer class in middle school just playing Balloons.
yeah, there's another
Um,
one, Board Games, boardgames.com or whatever.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was just like I was like, oh, let's play this, and I wonder if anyone streams Balloons 5, and I like looked, and it was like Balloons 6. I'm like, wow, I'm a whole year behind. Like,
Nice.
didn't even know 6 came out.
Yeah, 6 is a little bit different. I mean, obviously, it's so much better. But yeah, I started in Bloons 5 and worked my way up.
Yeah.
So that's pretty decent. I was playing Path of Exile and went to Bloons. It was like a huge extreme for me to move from one to the other, and like we were playing a lot of Path of Exile, and I could feel like there was a lot of tension. Like some people in the groups weren't really like enjoying what we were doing, and you could just tell like people were kind of like, I don't know, it wasn't like a good like enjoyable session. Like a couple weeks before I started playing Bloons. And I decided instead of being in the situation where people are stressed out, not having a good time, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take myself out of the situation and go play something else for a little bit. And so I needed that to kind of like motivate me to find another game to play. And I just happened to scroll through Steam last January and I saw that it was on sale for 99 cents. I was like, you know what? I have this on my phone. And I remember in 2013 playing TD5. So I said, well, let me pick this up for 99 cents. And then I streamed with it. And I went from 0 people watching me play Path of Exile to 20 people watching me play Balloons. That was that's what started it all.
Yeah,
Did you have a point where you went from 0 to like, a handful or more?
yeah,
Or
definitely. Actually, I started. So my friend that never plays games with us, but always suggests we play games with him,
yeah.
was like, "Oh, DDA just came out, like the new one. Like I liked the other ones. We should play it." So I got it. My other friend got it, and we were playing it. And like classic, my friend Tyler just doesn't play with us. He's like, "Let's do this." Like we played Destiny with him for maybe an hour.
Yeah.
I think I have like 200 hours in Destiny.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah, that's quite a few.
he's that person. He's like, yeah, let's play, and then he like plays a different game. Uh,
Nice. Guys, I'm all in. Right after I'm done with this one.
yeah, but so we were playing DDA, and then I was like, this game's fun. Like it's a tower defense game, but it's a role playing tower defense game. So like you're an actual character and you shoot and stuff.
Yeah.
So like my transition to Bloons wasn't like extreme like yours was. It was like one tower defense to another tower defense.
Right.
But I was just playing it, and then I was like, yeah, I could stream it. Like I'm literally doing nothing else. Like working from home in quarantine. Like what else am I gonna do? So like I live in a city too, so like it was always strict here. So like everything closed immediately.
Has COVID like affected you? Like how? What's a good way to put this? Like how has COVID like affected you? Like personally or stream wise or anything like that?
If anything, stream wise probably helped, but it hasn't affected me personally at all. Like I'm a homebody. I don't really go out. If I go out, it's because like my girlfriend wants to go to a bar or something. So like, I would never leave my apartment if it was my choice.
No, well, yeah. See, I'm kind of like the opposite. Like, I can handle staying at home and like I have for almost a year. I've been in here like just streaming, but like for the most part, I am so outgoing. I'm an extrovert. Like I want to go outside. Like I want to go to the party. I want to go hang out. I want to go to the store. And, but I do agree with you that COVID had, as far as streaming goes, I almost owe my entire audience to COVID.
Yeah.
I just don't know if that many people would have stayed home to watch Twitch. Like if COVID wasn't, but it's, I mean, obviously I would rather not have an audience than have this horrific thing globally. You know, it's something like, damn, at least you can find some kind of silver lining, but it's just really sad that we're here anyway.
Yeah. So I'm the exact opposite. I'm I took one of those tests. I think I was 98% introvert.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like for me, best case scenario is like the zombie apocalypse happens and I don't have to see people again. Like, I don't know. I'm just like, I've always been like this too. Like when I was younger, my mom's always like, get off the computer, go outside. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna play World of Warcraft. Like, so I don't know. I've always really been like that. And then like I went to school for game dev and stuff. And I was like, hey, now you're mad that you're yelling at me for getting off the computer, aren't you?
I know everybody that's like, you're never going to make money off of video games. I just look at them and say, ha!
Ha, I make video games now.
Growing up, I remember getting the first Nintendo for Christmas, 1984. And it was $99 back then. And, but I grew up like, for some reason, my parents in the 70s were like kind of geeky, to be honest, now that I'm thinking about it. Because my dad, he was a carpenter and he worked at Electric Boat in Groton, Connecticut. He worked in a model shop for decades. Basically, when they make a submarine for the Navy, they have to make the entire thing out of wood first. Every part, down to the button, down to everything. They need to make sure every part fits. And he worked in the model shop, and that's what he did. He made wooden replicas of whatever they would make out of metal. And so he just worked with his hands. He built jewelry boxes. He built furniture. He built like all kinds of things with his hands. My mom on the other side, she was completely different. She had a couponing business. She sold coupons. My whole family is like famous for couponing. Like, you ever see the show Extreme Couponers?
Yeah.
Yeah, my family is the underground version of that. They started it all. My aunt was actually on like Dateline TV because she was the first woman in U.S. history to go to jail for it.
Went to jail for it?
Yeah. The long story. I told it a couple times before. But yeah, it's long story. Anyway, my parents were far away from technology, And we had a game system called the Intellivision. Do you remember that? It was
Yeah.
before the Atari.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like I like your smartphone, but with like tactile buttons on it, and you had like a little knob and everything. My favorite game was Burger Time. I don't know if you're familiar with that. I know some guys that are devs. They love the history of games. Like they know all kinds. Like there's that one YouTube channel, 8-Bit History or something like that.
Mhm.
Like so these are old systems for anybody that don't know. These are like when Pong existed. I've been playing video games since then. So, yeah, very unique experience. What's the furthest one you've gone back and played? Like, are you historical at all for games?
Oh, yeah. I think so. The first system I got was like the PlayStation, the normal one, because I'm a '90s kid. So obviously, the first one I got was PlayStation. But um, I think when I was like 10, my dad got me one of those Ataris that like the cartridges hold like 50 games, so you could play all of them.
Yeah.
So like I since then I've been like basically trying to collect all the old game systems
Mm,
because they're just I still haven't found a working PlayStation 1, by the way. Like cuz I refuse to go on eBay and pay like $100 for it.
I have
So
one in my basement.
I just go to flea markets and you pay like $5 and they're like, I don't know if it works. So I'm like, it was $5. Like until I hit
I'll be
I
fine.
have I have until I hit $100 to get one that works.
Man, I used to mod PlayStation ones. I think I have told this before. Have you modded anything? Have you like?
No, you can't damage the classicness of it.
I know. Well, back then it wasn't a classic. So,
Yeah, that's true.
in the early 2000s, I was learning how to solder and stuff like that. And because I kind of had like an electronic background, my friends would come over and be like, "Hey, can you put a mod chip in my PlayStation 1?" And I was like, "What is this?" And I realized there's like 5 little pss, 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 pss. And then like you can burn the games on your computer and they'd work. And I went all down that road. But the funny thing is, back then I bought my dad, which at that time he was 35, 40, something like that. I bought him a PlayStation. He's like, "Can you mod it for me?" And I did. And I have it now. He passed away like 10 years ago. And so I actually have the first one I did for him downstairs. Favorite game on PlayStation 1? Do you have one?
Crash Bandicoot, 100%. The amount of if they kept track of hours back then,
Yeah.
that would probably be the highest. I played like the original 3 games of Crash Bandicoot that came out for PlayStation 1, like until they stopped working on my PlayStation 3.
Oh, really? Until it was
Yeah,
no longer
like
backwards
I
compatible.
might still have one of them behind me. I
Oh
know I
yeah, you
still
got a
have.
Wii up there. You know what? I've never looked behind you. You have a Wii. You have a Xbox 360. Is there something else behind there?
There's a PlayStation, like it's PlayStation 3, and then I have old Game Boys.
Oh, that's cool. That is
But
all right.
I have the old which of course isn't the expensive one, but I have the old Pizza Hut Tony Hawk Underground. It's like
Yeah.
half the game, but I have the green disc, not the blue one. The blue one's the expensive one. And I was like,
Dude, it's like Jameson whiskey over here. The green one, the blue one.
well, that's so. I think it's like the McDonald's Monopoly thing where they like, how they're like, oh yeah, get all of Boardwalk and then you can make whatever amount of money, but they like only like the East Coast gets one and the West Coast gets the other one.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what it was with Pizza Hut, but I guess Pizza Hut's like way more of a New England thing than it
Yeah.
is anywhere else. So there's like 1,000 copies of the blue one somewhere else in the world, and then like 1,000,000 of the green one.
Dude, I used to play the Dave Mirror BMX. Speaking of that genre, that was one of my favorite. I don't know if they had like the Slim Jim guy in there,
Yeah.
where he's like, snap into a Slim Jim.
Yeah. But when they put the advertising in games, because that's
Yeah,
what they paid for
yeah.
everything.
Dude, I used to play that for hours and hours. I try to unlock everything. And I'm not even like, I'm really not a huge gamer. I know I'm talking like I was. I mean, I have gamed, but even when I was a kid, like I can remember, I don't know if you have brothers and sisters. I have one brother, I have one sister, and my brother loves playing video games. Like even today, like if you give him like a couple beers and tell him to go for it in Black Ops, like he will crush you with whatever weapon you give him. Like he's very good. And I remember watching him for hours and hours before streaming was even a thing. I would just sit on the couch and watch him play. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I have two older sisters, so
oh, okay.
we didn't get along, I guess would be the thing. My older sister protected me, and me and my middle sister used to fight. Like there's actually, my mom has pictures of when I was a baby, and there's just like Band-Aids all over me.
Yeah.
Because my little sister, when mom wasn't paying attention, put Band-Aids all over me so that my mom had to rip them off and make me cry. So that's how long we've been fighting. We're actually friends now. I'm actually more friends with my middle sister than I am with my older sister now.
Yeah.
But it's just crazy.
Hey, hold on 1 second, dude. Hold on.
Unjack's brother invented streaming.
So yeah, sorry. We do the business in the morning, and so it's snowing outside. We're trying to figure out like what our logistics are for shipping today. This is every morning. Usually, so this is a lot of people don't know, but normally I'll stream at like 10 a.m. because I'll try between 9 and 10. I try to get all my business stuff done and out of the way. But I know that you stream at 9:30, so I was like, well, let me be on his schedule instead of mine. And so yeah, we just have a little side conversation here. So yeah, video games have come a long way, dude. From way back then. What's your favorite genre? Like, what's like your go-to?
MMORPGs.
Yeah,
I spent way too much of my life playing RuneScape and World of Warcraft, like way too much. So I've probably been playing RuneScape. Well, I played RuneScape before. Obviously, it's a gateway MMORPG into World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
But when I was like 14, my parents like, you have to get off the computer, and they like take it away from me. Oh. And I'm like, this isn't fair. Like, and they're like, well, we paid for it. And I was like, ha, okay. Right. So I went and got a job working at my aunt's restaurant in Maine for a summer. So I just lived in Maine for a summer with my aunt and uncle, worked at the restaurant, bought myself a laptop. And then my parents were like, get off the computer. I'm like, well, I paid for it. What are you going to do? Take it away? Ooh. And my mom obviously was pissed, but my dad was like, well, he got us there. Like, we did say we paid for it.
Technicalities, man, they can be a bitch.
So, like, my mom would get mad and, like, whatever. But my dad's like, he did get us there. Like, I don't.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
We told him to pay for it himself, and he did. So, we can't really punish him for having responsibility and getting a job.
Dude, that is like, that's the oldest move right there. You're like, can't beat him, join him. Like, oh, okay, I see, an eye for an eye. All right, I'll go put my resume in. Like, sir, you're 8 years old. Be like, well, somebody's gonna hire me.
You got to Ron Swanson it. Start working at the mill at 6. You're the manager by 12.
Exactly. I started selling things when I was like 4 years old, 5 years old. I used to sell the centerfolds out of my mom's porno mags. I didn't know they were hers, but like when I was 4 and 5 years old, I lived in a small town called Taffville. I thought they were my dad's for years, and like I was like, I don't know, it was like my late 20s or whatever, and I was like, hey, Dad, you know what I used to do? And I told him the story. He was like, those weren't mine. Those are your mom's. I was like, what? which made the
Oh,
story
that's
like
great.
even better. But yeah,
Yeah, that makes it so much better.
yeah, we sneaked down to the basement and they had like, I guess my mom had like these plastic crates full of magazines. I don't know. And anyway, I used to like cut the centers of them out and I would sell them for like 50 cents to like other kids in the neighborhood. And I remember one night, like, we got the phone call, and I hear my mom. She's like, "My son would never. He would never do that. All she had to do was go downstairs and look at any of the centerfolds and see if they were missing, and that would have been
He's
like
such a
enough
good
hard
boy.
evidence against me. Like, I had like cut all kinds of pages out of there, and I was making like $5-6 a week. And listen, back in 1982, 83, that was good money back then.
Yeah. My son would never do that. He's a good boy.
Right? She looked at me. She hung up the
Said
phone. She
every
looked at me.
murderer's mom ever.
Yeah, and she looked at me square in the eye. She said, "Adam, is that you? Did you do that?" I looked at her. And I said, "No, why? Come on, why would I do that?" Basically, she's like, "All right, that's what I thought. Let's go." And we go and hang out, watch TV, and have ice cream or something.
My mom's biggest thing when we were growing up was lying. She like if she caught us in a lie, it was like all over. Like
Oh man,
classic Italian mom chases up the stairs with a wooden spoon. But one day my sister just like lied straight to her face, and we all knew it was a lie. And she just like kept going on with a lie. And my mom's like, "Stop lying to me." And she's like, "I'm not lying."
I'm not
Because
lying.
my middle sister was the worst, like literally the devil. And my mom like went in the bathroom, got liquid soap in her hand, tackled my sister in the middle of the kitchen, and just like shoved it in her mouth because she kept lying.
Oh no!
She just got up, spit out, and goes, "That wasn't that bad." And then like walked
Take
upstairs.
that.
And me and my other sister just there, just like, "Oh my God, we're gonna die. We're all gonna die." We're like, just stop lying and walk away.
Some
And she
people
just
can't.
kept going with it.
Some people can't, man. Some people they don't know when to quit.
Kids these days don't know how well they have it. You like raise your hand to them, and they're like, "I'm calling the police." And I'm like,
Right?
I saw my sister get tackled in the middle of the kitchen, and I'm not even that old.
Man, yeah, back then, dude, you really could get away with murder almost. How many
Honestly,
cold
though-
cases there were back then of child abuse or something?
Some kids though just needed to be hit.
Yeah. Look at him. He looks like he wants it. Okay, all right, come here. I'll beat you real quick.
Now you just have to like hug them really hard and be like, "Don't do that." I didn't teach him anything.
Right.
My dad never hit us, but we were all scared he was going to.
Oh,
So like
man.
my mom would be like, "I'm gonna get dad," and we're like, "Uh-oh, I'll be good."
My dad had this stupid thing. It looked like a hair pick. That was in the shape of a hair pick, but it was a chunk of leather, and he cut little like strings off of it. So like if he were to hit you, it would be like 100 lashes. But the thing is, my dad was like the nicest guy in the world. He had this thing that was so threatening, but you're like, nah. And he would never hit you with it or anything like that. So it was all bark and no bite. I loved it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, my dad never didn't even come close to hitting us. He just like looks scary. Like everyone that meets him, they're like, "Wow, your dad's like intimidating." And I'm like, "No, he's not." Like because like all my friends, he'll just like make fun of him. And
Oh,
that's just like his way of like saying I like you. Like if he doesn't make fun of you, something's wrong.
yeah.
But
You got one of those dads.
yeah. So it's just like, but it's funny because like whenever my sisters have been like a boy home or something, my dad just like in his chair with his newspaper up, wouldn't even like put it down and to like talk to him. He's
Or
like
even
super
worse, you bring it down right to the top of your eyes and then just slowly rise it right back up.
yeah. But he's like super intimidating, but like not actually at all.
Right,
Like he's
right.
super nice, but it's just like you look at him like, "Oh, this guy's gonna beat the shit out of me."
Oh man, yeah. Stories from childhood always bring back so many more memories. Dude, switching back to a little bit of streaming talk because there's things I want to ask you, man. Especially because you stream in the same category. You probably know a lot of the same people as I know and everything like that. But do you let me ask you this: how far do you think you will take Bloons? Like, when do you think you'll say, you know what? I'll come back once in a blue moon, but for now, I'm gonna move on to a different category. Like, what do you foresee your future?
I don't know. I get it. Really just depends. Like when I get bored of it, I guess. Like I still enjoy playing it, and I like doing all the multiplayer things. And like honestly, so far I've almost blackboarded all the beginner maps
Yeah.
because I'm just progressively going. Like I've played the other ones, but like I'm trying to blackboard them kind of in a row.
Okay.
So
Oh, you're going even stricter than I do then.
well, I did it for the first one because the beginner maps it just really bothers me. Like a lot of them are super easy, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, how are these not black bordered yet? And then I sit there, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do half cash. But
Start getting
but
annoyed.
once the beginner ones are done, I'll probably mix it up more on like what I'm black bordering and stuff. But like the beginner ones, I'm just like, no, these have to be done. Like they're easy. I need to black board them, just never play them ever again.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, once I'm bored of it, I'm not bored yet. I haven't really got to the hard part, like harder ones yet. So I'll probably keep playing for a while, but it's also like I play a bunch of games. So I guess if I get kind of dragged into another one,
Right.
I'll probably start streaming it a little less, but hasn't happened yet.
Are you like kind of like a tower defense kind of guy? Like, is that something, or are you just gonna go something completely different, like Dungeon Defenders?
I don't know. It matters. It really does. I honestly though, so I kind of thought about this a little bit. I'm waiting for New World to come out, which is supposed to be the next big MMORPG. So depending how much I like that, I might just be like, I'm gonna play that for now on. But like honestly, streaming wise, that would not be a good move. But
I was just about to say, do you get nervous about the prospects of like nobody like I would imagine whoever's tuning into this right now is probably like, what the and I would imagine like switching your game like that, it would be the same.
Yeah. So I don't know. It would be I would actually be more nervous that no one would watch because I know that'll be such a big category. And I know like other big streamers are going to switch to it. Like other big variety streamers and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I'd be more worried about not getting viewers because of that, not necessarily just because I'm switching games.
Yeah, I have found that while like it's cool to have the big streamers come over to the category, it doesn't actually help anybody in that category.
No,
because most of those people that are there, they're not there looking for like for other streamers. They're there because XQC is playing Bloons. They're there for XQC.
Yeah,
and so I mean, I'm still happy that people are being exposed to Bloons for the first time. Maybe it brings in a few here and there, but overall, I don't find that it's helpful.
Yeah, it's not helpful, but it doesn't help like the streaming category, but it doesn't help the game either. It's like when games go to 99 cents from like being really expensive, like you get a big influx of people, but none of them know how to play. And then if they're there just because that one big streamer, like he doesn't know how to play either. Like it's just a bunch of people that are really just a complete cluster of nothingness playing the game. And I hate when games go 99 cents because like I was playing.
Really? I want to hear this.
I bought Black Wake when it was 99 cents.
Okay.
But I hate when games go 99 cents because you just get like all the COD bros in the game where like they're just so toxic and just like cancer for the community. I know that's like I know now a lot of people that play COD aren't like that, but like back in the early 2000s, the COD bros were like the jocks that would play Call of Duty when they went home on their Xbox. And they're just like super douchey. And like that's what you get an influx of when games get cheap. And it's just like just terrible people. Like just ones you don't want in your community at all.
Well, you do play co-op Bloons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe that you did. Anyway, since Bloons has been 99 cents for like the last, like, I don't know, it seems like the last month or so. Have you seen an influx of people that swoop in at level 40 and 50 and they're like trying to run that beast like they know what's going on? Because I've been experiencing like a huge influx of people that are like well below level 100 and they drop in. And I'm not trying to be an elitist by any means, but like they're coming over from like Call of Duty and stuff like that. And they're like, dude, it's a kid's game. I got this. And then like we lose every single game. It's like, dude, slow down. Talk to us.
Yeah. Well, I'll play some of the half cash maps offline, like not streaming.
Yeah.
Because I just need someone that I know knows how to play the game to play with. Because you just like you can't do it. Like you get people and you're like, yeah, do this, and like, okay, and then they like drop a bunch of monkeys and you're like, ugh.
Yeah,
we only have so much money.
Yeah, I know. My favorite is, dude, just get a tier 5 forehead. Like, oh yeah, I like, isn't that good? I'm like, yeah, it's a tier 5. Of course it's good. That's why it's 50,000 coins.
Yeah, especially in half cash where you can't get a tier 5 because you never get enough money.
Yeah, for that kind of stuff, I seem to have like a pretty big split in my audience. Like I have like a small like group of people that are actually really good. They work on like strats offline, stuff like that. And I tend to do those maps with them. But it's been very hard for me to get new people in because there's something I believe as far as like a good stream goes, especially if you're a co-op streamer. And my philosophy is this. I want everybody to be able to like come to my stream and like feel like they have access into it. They have the same chance as everybody else to put the code in and play a game with me. They have, the same opportunity as everybody else. But then, it's tough because in a game like Bloons, which you're probably finding out as you're going, as you black border these maps and you don't go back to them, you don't find those little wins. To be successful, not only do you have to have like 1 or 2 wins, for a 5-hour session, so at least somebody feels like they accomplished something for the day. And besides, it's kind of like a boost for the community. When you get a good GG, everybody's feeling good. Everybody's like, hell yeah, we worked for 3 days for that map and we got it. But now I'm finding it to be the point where I only have 13 maps that are not black bordered and Ninja Kiwi is not putting out enough content for me to have more maps that I can GG with everybody. So now only 20% of my audience is getting to play any real meaningful games because there's just nothing left. Are you finding that at all on your end?
No, because I have more content to still get through, but
okay.
Like you're further in the game than I am. But
yeah, we're at 750 hours live on stream with Bloons.
Yeah, I have a lot less than that.
but you will get to there if you continue going in the path that you're going.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I would say I'm having trouble with is that I feel like I don't know if it's just because they're new to the game or it's like how many people are watching me, like how new I look because of that, and they're like, oh, I got this, and they're like. They just like we have like 4 heroes down, and I'm like, why is this happening? And like I'll just like keep getting pinged for my hero. I'm like, I'm not dropping a 4th hero. Like
it's the worst, dude. That's the worst.
But I'll be playing. I'm like, it'll be fine on this map. Like whatever. Like I'm not giving anyone money. I'll just carry it real quick. Like the 4 things I can put down with my money will be enough. But I don't know. I get people that are like that'll just like, they just do whatever they want. Like they'll say things, but then they just do the complete opposite.
Yeah. I'll be in here. I'll be like, all right, guys, if I was you, if I was literally in your body right now playing this game, I would probably put down like, I don't know, a monkey ace. And then next thing you know, you got like 5 dart monkeys. You're like, oh, okay, I guess I failed in my communication skills.
Yeah, like I was playing and someone's like, "Oh, just give me all your money so that I can like save up for this." And I was like, I'll give you my money when we get closer because I know we don't have lead yet, and there's 4 rounds till lead starts coming out.
Right.
So I'm gonna save it, and then I might drop a boomer and give it lead popping so that we make it past that wave.
My favorite is round 9, and the request is put down Ray of Doom. What? Come on, man! What are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, so I think it's because I've watched your streams and you're like against upgrading the dart monkey. I noticed that you guys like never upgrade it.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
I'm under the exact opposite philosophy that you should always upgrade it because it's super cheap and
Yeah.
it was free in the first place. Like, so
I do it more out of spite than common sense because I actually understand how valuable the dart monkey is. But I think after being spammed endlessly on dart monkeys, I've grown to hate the dart monkey, not because of its skill, but because of the trolls that come into my stream to use it. And so
Yeah.
every time I see it, I'm just like, all right, come on, man. Come on, man. Just buy a ninja. If that's what you want, just buy a friggin' ninja. And, but I mean, you're right. I always tell people the dart monkey has a time and place. You know, like when money is really, really tight, dart monkey is the answer. But if you're on medium and you're playing like Monkey Meadow, like I don't want to see a crossbow master.
yeah.
I want to see a grandmaster. I want to see, I want to see some like real towers. We got the money, because I really think I think of Bloons like a game of chess, right? It's a more intricate game of chess, obviously, but like each piece has like its part. It's no different like when we do challenges. People are like, all right, we'll see if he figures out that you need a 0-2-3 sub to beat this.
Yeah.
You need to know. And I don't know. It's just it is an intricate game. And so I don't have anything against the dart monkey, just so we clear the air. I just find that if I can make people rage, it's great content. So if I can, there are certain choices that I make when I'm streaming to trigger somebody for something, to cause some level of like activity in the stream, and that's kind of part of it. So yeah, do you have a tower that you absolutely hate that when somebody puts it down, the first thing you do is like, oh my god, I should just burn my computer down right now?
There isn't. It's a certain build path. It really bothers me when people drop a boomer and don't get lead popping on it.
Oh, no
why
hot
did you even put it
rags.
down? Why'd you put it down? Like, what was the point of putting it down if you're not gonna be able to pop lead? Like, it's like the cheapest thing to pop lead, and you just don't. You just like go like 5-2. I'm like, oh, come on. Like,
Right.
why?
Right. No,
Or-
I agree with you.
Or the dart monkey when they go middle path. I can't stand it.
Ooh, Super Monkey Club. You're like, why?
No one needs Super Monkey Club because
No.
first of all, if you hit it and the other monkeys on the board are upgraded in any of the other paths, like if they transform to the catapult or the crossbow, they
Yeah.
don't change. Like they don't change, and it's just like I see people and they like get the third shot thing. They're like, yeah, it's super good. I'm like, oh, but you can't upgrade it past that. There's no point.
Yeah, what do you do then?
You're gonna save up 8,000 to get one super monkey? Like, get out of here.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I could have like 2 recursive clusters for that.
Yeah.
It's like, why? But no,
I got 2 subs and done more.
yeah,
Like,
it's given me a lot of like insight to like strategy and more so like co-op strategy. This is the first time in my life that I've really played a game at this level with so many people around the world.
Yeah.
So, this like I didn't play WoW. The only other thing that I've played like big time like this was like Diablo 2. And of course, everybody knows I play Path of Exile. But
Yeah.
other than that, so I don't know. It's just a very different game. Do you BTD7 comes out tomorrow. Do you play? Are you now a BTD7 streamer or do you a lot of people ask me this question and I'm just thinking to myself, no, at some point I'd like to retire.
I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. It's a hard decision. Like, do you I guess it really wouldn't be because there isn't like that many big streamers that like actually play balloons. You know what I mean? Like a lot of them are just like, we're gonna play balloons this week. But I don't know if I want to jump on the bandwagon right away or if I want to stay on this one for a little bit and
Yeah.
like wait for them to figure out all the bugs and things you hate about the next one.
Man, that's a tough one too because you lose so much momentum.
Yeah.
A perfect example, like my audience was screaming that I should go play Among Us when it first dropped, and I was like, no, I'm not going to, because I want to stay in my category. Like I don't want to. I watched Fall Guys come in and go out like very quickly, and I know some people are playing it still and all that, but I was only doing it on the weekends. And then Among Us came out, and everybody in my audience like, dude, you need to go and you got to watch this. I'm telling you, like you want to play. So I missed like the first month, and then like one night I went outside in the fall and I was shooting some hoops with my oldest son, and he was telling me he's like, trust me, it's $5. What do you have to lose? And so we started doing Among Us in like late October, early November, I think it was, and it had been a while since I was getting 25, 30 followers per day. But literally in 6 weeks, I doubled my audience. And I'm still scared to switch over games like that, though. And try new things. Like, I don't know why, but it's like, I feel like I'm regressing too much.
So I've almost always played multiplayer games. So my whole thing is when I see, like, I didn't stream Among Us and I'm still not going to, like, because it's going to sound bad, but it's like it's designed to be a kid's game. And I've played enough MMOs that kids just destroy games for me. Like, just destroy them. Like, it's just one of those things that they just don't have a filter, and it's just, you can't argue with a kid about something. Like, you just can't. They're never going to listen to you no matter what. So I just can't play those games that are just like so easy to troll.
Yeah.
And you can't control. Like, that's why I stopped playing League of Legends, because it was just like the community got so toxic so fast. Like, you would die in the first 10 minutes and everyone's like, you suck, you're the worst. And then they just start feeding. And we're like, we had a chance to win. I died once. But it's like some 12-year-old kid that's like, nope, I'm trolling now. And it's like, well, there goes an hour of my life because you ruined it. Like, so like I would always go back to WoW every time there's a new expansion. And then I like try and raid or do whatever. And there'd be a bunch of kids. I'm like, oh my God, just don't stand in the fire. Like, it's that easy. And and they just like troll you about it. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm done playing this game. I just can't, I can't mentally take the toll of just kids being trolls all the time. I'd always go back to EVE Online because it's this space game, and the average age of people who play that game is like 40, because the learning curve is like the curve you don't want to see. It's like and it goes up. Like, it's the learning curve so hard, kids physically can't play it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it because you're just playing with other adults. Like, I made so many friends that like live in England and like everywhere in Europe from playing that game because it's such an international game. And I have a bunch of friends that I still play games with now. And like, I don't play EVE anymore, but I still talk to them because like you actually made like meaningful relationships with them, because when something happens, you talk about it and like move on. You don't like just get fucking trolled to death for like hitting an L instead of hitting a P. Like it's just, I don't know. Like I literally every time I play WoW, after I'm done playing, I go to Eve every single time. Like I
I'm
just
the same way with Path of Exile.
Yeah.
I am like, whenever I finish up, if I have like an hour or two, I always pull up Path of Exile. I've been playing it for 7 years. I'm familiar with Eve though. I never wanted to like take that dive into Eve because there's only so much time in my lifetime.
It's a commitment. So every single person that actually gets into that game goes, "Yeah, you don't need more than one account. There's no point." That never happens. I've said that. I said that for like the first year I played, and then I was like, "Shit, you know, it'd be really good if I had like 3 more accounts." And then
Damn.
and like, there's a lot of people that play the game have at least 4 accounts.
Really?
Yeah, because it's so.
I don't think I've ever had multiple accounts for any game.
Yeah. So that game, like doing anything is like anything at a higher level is relatively difficult to do alone. So having at least one other account, you can do a lot more things.
That way you don't have to have friends.
Well,
I just want to make sure that I'm understanding what you're saying.
It's not that you don't need more friends. It's that people don't need to be doing stupid shit while you're doing fun things.
Yeah.
So like I had 4 accounts. I had 2 of them would be like, I had like a main account and then another one that was like be logistics. So it would like be healing and stuff like that. And then I had 2 accounts that were scout accounts because like we lived in a wormhole. So you put 2 of those on another wormhole and you have the volume up loud so you can hear if the wormhole activates, but you're actually playing on the other 2 accounts. Because you're not gonna put like a person on a wormhole and just be like, hey, just sit there while we go do all this stuff and have fun. Right. You know what I mean? So like you just throw a spare account on it.
So you've never streamed EVE Online?
No, you don't. You don't stream that game.
Is that because of the stream snipe?
Oh yeah, you 100% get sniped every time. You can't block enough of your screen to not get sniped. You just can't. Like that's literally like there's a whole like they're called a corporation, but there's a whole guild in EVE that if you're streaming, they try and find you.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, like you can't stream the game. Like people that stream that game are in the like massive alliances and they're in the middle of nowhere. And if you like try and snipe them, they'll drop a whole super fleet on you. Like you just can't kill them.
What? Dude, every time somebody talks about this game, I swear I like get deeper and deeper. Right now, there's EVE Online on Twitch has 499 viewers. These guys are all risking everything for that.
So there's a huge war going on in EVE. So this game literally has its own universe. Like there's people that are like reporters for this game and like have websites dedicated to EVE Online news. So I bet half of those people are just in a cloak ship watching battles and like writing a fucking news report on what's going on. And then another one could be like doing a fleet that's in the war and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, no, like this game there's too many levels. Like that's why the learning curve's so hard. Like kids just can't play it. You can't comprehend what's going on. Like kids don't try hard enough in a game to understand what's going on. Like it's taxing to play this game.
I understand what you mean though. Like I find that to be true in like Path of Exile. There's not a lot of young players.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of it is for a lot of these games, you need a good computer to play a lot of them. And most young kids simply just they don't have good computers. You know, so that's one barrier to entry. And that's why like mobile games are kind of tough because mobile games everybody can play. Like it's, you know, what parent's not going to put Bloons TD6 on their kids, you know, phones so they shut up in the back seat of their car to Florida. You know, like every parent's going to do that. So yeah, you're right, man. You do get a different audience.
But the best part though about Eve is that there's no rules about scamming people.
Oh,
So it's
is
literally
is
anything goes. As long as you're not hacking someone, no one cares.
is this to encourage like pirates?
Yeah, so it's because their game is it's supposed to be a player economy and like everything. Their whole point who make CCP is who makes it. Their whole thing is that like we make the game, but you run it. So they do it that way because it's just like realistic. You know what I mean? Like, why would we ban someone because you're dumb enough to give them all your stuff?
Yeah, no, I think I can understand that. Like you're talking about the universe, which is a huge place to begin with, and you're gonna have rogue nations, rogue planets. Like you're gonna have pirates. Like yeah, I would say this is really like a real space simulator if I understand it correctly.
Yeah.
I've never played it myself, so
hmm
I'm
But
guessing.
so you can scam people and stuff, but I also think they can get away with doing that because there isn't a bunch of kids playing. Like if you even just like looking at WoW, like you can't scam people in that game, but like how easy would it be for you to talk some kid into giving you all his gold? Like, you know what I mean? Like
Have you ever
they
done
have
that?
yeah, I have definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a high
Good guy
community,
Havrix over here.
there's a high community of kids that play WoW though. So like you're gonna get complaints that like, oh, this person took all my stuff and like all this stuff, but Eve just isn't gonna get that. Like you're
Yeah,
not gonna get the complaints.
because these are all adults, and they're
Yeah, they're all
probably
adults and they're
embarrassed
like,
that they've been swindled.
yeah, they're like, God damn it, this guy.
Got me again. Oh man, I don't think it's ever a game that I will try myself, but yeah. So
It's definitely involved. It's a big undertaking. If you're not into that, I would not try it.
no, absolutely. Well, outside of gaming, do you have like hobbies? Are you into anything like off of the computer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, this coffee's hot. Um can't hold that in my hand. Um I go like hiking and camping. Um I do archery and stuff just because zombies.
Really? Do you use like compound bows or like a long bow or what
No,
kind of
I use
archery?
recurve. I actually have it next to me, which I'd have to move the camera, but
Yeah. Yeah.
no, I do recurve. It's cheaper. Like why buy a compound bow when I could just buy a gun? Like
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Well, we have archery around here. We have some ranges, and I've never been, but growing up, I remember I bought like a little longbow, like a kid's like junior bow, and that's what I would do in my backyard all day. I'd buy $5 worth of arrows and a little foam pad, and I would just shoot all day long, and that was a pretty cool time. Um,
yeah, I've been trying. Well, COVID happened, so it really slowed that progress down. But I was trying to get up to a 70-pound draw for
wow.
big game hunting. Not that I would go big game hunting, but like I just wanted to be like, yeah, I can go big game hunting with a bow.
You can go to one of those. Have you ever gone to one of those places? Like they have them for golf, but they have them for hunting as well. Where the indoor hunting ranges or whatever, where they
No.
give you the bow and they put like the rubber ball tip on it, and you go in and you just shoot the screen. I don't know if you
No,
ever seen one of those. The golfing ones are weird, man.
there's actually my apartment has a golf simulator. I
Yeah.
haven't gone because I can't golf for shit, but there's like a golf simulator downstairs.
Oh man, when I lived in Korea, there was one right down the road. I played. I probably played like 2 18 rounds of golf every weekend for
I
like
just
a couple years.
I can't hit the ball straight.
Oh, neither
Like
can I. I look awful out there.
no, like it shanks super hard every time, and it's definitely because my elbow's crooked. So like I don't know if you can see it. That's my elbow being straight.
Oh, damn.
when I played basketball, they're like, straighten your elbow. I'm like, that's not natural. That's not how it goes.
Yeah, you got that crooked elbow syndrome. What's going on with
Yeah.
that, dude?
I don't know. It's just like that. It's fine. It just doesn't go straight. Like I played basketball in high schoal. Like
Yeah, I did
shoot.
too.
I can shoot and everything. I was good, but like my elbow is not straight. It was never gonna be straight. And I honestly think that messes up me playing golf just because it doesn't, like, the follow through isn't straight because of that.
Yeah.
And I haven't tried enough to figure out how to correct that. So
Yeah, well,
I'll probably just never golf.
yeah, that's all. I was going to say, you just skip the golf. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. Well, it's the golf pressure's there a little bit because my girlfriend's family, they all golf all the time. They're like in a townie league and stuff like that.
Oh.
So I've been asked a few times. I'm like, you don't want me to go golfing. You just don't.
Right. I only started golfing. I learned how to golf when I was 26 years old. So my boss basically said, hey, if you want tomorrow or next week off or something like that, it was like a base golf. This was when I was in the military. So there was a base golf tournament, and anybody that was in the tournament could have the day off. And in the military, you get paid whether you show up or not. It doesn't really matter. So
I'd go golf.
So I remember me and my wife, we had just gotten married at that time, and I looked at her and said, hey, I think I need to go to the sports store and spend $300. And she said, why? I said, something tells me that I'm going to want a lot of days off in the future. And so I had one of the guys that worked for me basically said, hey, if I'm golfing, you're golfing, buddy. And he was like, okay, because he was an amateur golfer. Like he was actually like playing for money on the side. And so he loved it. I said, you're going to teach me how to golf. And so him and his dad would take me out all the time. And we would call it our PT. So the first 2 hours you can take for physical training, before the shift starts. So I just let everybody go golfing. And but I can't do it anymore. My shoulder's too messed up. Yeah, and we all have our reasons getting into things. So
yeah, you were in the Air Force, right?
Yeah, I was in the Air Force. So
my dad was in the Navy, and he always tells me like he was on like an officer's softball team.
Oh, okay.
And obviously they play the Marines all the time and like stuff like that. So their uniforms were tie-dye. They had different socks. You'd only tuck half of it in, and you always wore the hat wrong because he's like the Marines would come in there with their perfect uniforms, everything straight.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like, so clearly our uniforms had to be the most weird things ever just to piss them off right from the bat.
Dude, whenever I think about the Navy, I think of just a sloppy. Like that, everything is just, their standards are sloppy, their uniforms are sloppy. Like, I have no disrespect to the Navy.
Oh, no.
But like,
it's on purpose though. Because I asked him, because my brother-in-law was a Marine. So clearly my dad and him would always go back and forth like, you're dumb, you just shoot guns. And he'd always be like, yeah, well, you're just a seaman and you guys don't even do anything. You're just on ships going around the world.
Yeah.
So
every branch has like its thing, man. Like everybody's like, oh, you're in the Air Force, you're lazy, dude. You just sit around in a chair in chair force. And I'm like, and I get paid the same.
Yep, exactly. I got paid the same. I wasn't in danger.
Yeah. Like, some people will give me shit and be like, I was on the front lines of Afghanistan. I was like, you were an E6, right? And they'll be like, yeah. I was like, me too. We got paid exactly the same, my dude, except I was in an office in Korea.
Yeah. My dad was a Navy engineer. So he went to college first and then joined as an officer. So
yeah,
they were all
smarter route.
But he was like building hospitals.
That's awesome, man. Some of those guys, dude, I big respects to them. I'm not that smart, man. I always admire people that can build things. And I swear to God, anybody that says Elon Musk, I swear to God, I'm banning them. No, I'm kidding. Elon Musk
Come
is
on.
not big. He
Elon
doesn't build
Musk is
anything. He
great.
invests.
He's great.
Wait. Are you on pro Elon?
Yeah.
All right. What's his biggest accomplishment in your opinion?
No. So that has nothing to do with any of it. So he's the richest. He's the best billionaire there is because he made Tesla literally just so he could funnel more money into SpaceX because all he cares about is going to Mars. He's very literally all he cares about. Like he personally wants to step on Mars. So he funnels so much money into it, and the amount of actual green energy and things we've got from SpaceX actually developing things is way more than any other billionaire's ever done with their money that they just hoard and don't do anything that actually helps the rest of the world. Like Tesla was made because SpaceX came up with the technology for the battery to actually run a car like that because they want to put it in their rover for Mars. You need to think of what he's
I feel like you appreciate
touched.
I feel like you appreciate his essence and maybe not necessarily like me. Maybe that's a better description for me. Like for me, I don't think Elon Musk is a really good person.
Oh, no, he's not a good person.
And I think his desires, I believe that his own personal selfishness, his desire to go to Mars, he doesn't give a shit about anybody else going to Mars. He wants to go to Mars. He's the billionaire. He pays for everybody else to make that happen so he can go to Mars. And you're right about him taking Tesla and using it for SpaceX. I think his ideas are good and his passion is good. I think what I don't like about him, and I think COVID kind of really showed the true colors. You kind of saw it when he was on Joe Rogan's podcast. I felt like he was awkward. Like when he smoked the joint, there was this level of fakeness to him where he wanted to be on the team, but he didn't know how to try out for the team kind of thing. And I think the one part that upset me about Elon more than anything else, and this probably will ruin his legacy in my own brain, is his response to COVID was, I need Tesla open so I can meet my goal of delivering 500,000 Teslas. And so he was willing to put his own employees in harm's way to make Teslas. He didn't when he went on to Joe Rogan actually during this period, and he was like, people just need to work. People need to get back to work. We don't need to do this. We don't need to do that. He was pro opening up, and I lost a lot of respect for him because of that. I don't mind if a billionaire is selfish. That's kind of what a billionaire is.
That's how he got to be a billionaire.
Exactly. You have to step on people. I just, those people are still human.
Yeah. So I think, my response to that would be obviously he really is not a good person. And he does everything for himself. Yeah. It just happens to positively affect other people.
We're getting mega benefits. Agreed.
Yeah. And that's why I like him. Because you think the guy who made Amazon was Bezos or whatever. He made Amazon, but what has he actually done for the rest of the world? At least Bill Gates, he basically gives half his money to Africa to try and just help. Actually,
you know what? Speaking of that in particular, I was thinking about that the other night. I was just sitting on the couch and I really do a lot of business reading. I love reading biographies of how Google was made and stuff like that. And I was thinking, what has Amazon done? And I think I was waiting for Amazon to deliver something or whatever. And I have an associate's. Yeah, right. I have an associate's degree in logistics. And it's what I did for the first 5 years of my Air Force career, warehouse storage. Not me personally, but I was in the line. I did fuel storage, not warehouse storage, but we were part of the same career field basically. And I've thought about. I think Amazon has actually done a lot for the world, more than what we realize. And I'll give you an example. Zappos is a shoe company. You can buy shoes, return them. They were bought by Amazon, and they basically laid the foundation of having warehouses in certain strategic locations, so you can deliver the product fast and also get it returned fast if the customer doesn't want. They basically perfected what we know as free shipping today, right? The whole notion that you would go to a website and pay for shipping, gross. Who does that, right? And we owe that to Zappos. Amazon bought them and basically modeled their logistics. So instead of having like wastefulness in the delivery process and the bureaucracy, I think Amazon has shown how to streamline like deliveries and stuff like that. How to, like, especially during COVID, how many people want to go to Walmart right now, right? With all the people that don't know how to wear a mask over their nose, or like will argue with you or like cut you because you ask them to wear a mask. Like, it's awful, man.
Yeah. Well, so back to the Joe Rogan with Elon Musk thing.
Yeah.
He said all that he said all that stuff like, oh, just go back to work, like, because you need to get all that stuff. But that's bad that he said that. But he was basically just saying what every other business owner wanted to say, but knew that it would be shooting themselves in the foot to say. And I think that, like, as bad as it is, that's one of the good things about Elon Musk is he's just gonna say it. Like, he's not gonna hold back. Like, the people who own Target are probably just like, yeah, just go back to work. What do you mean? Like, I don't care.
Right.
Like, we just need to sell stuff. But Elon Musk is just like, no, go back to work. I don't care. Get sick. I'll replace you. He just says what everyone else like wants to say, but knows it'll affect their business. And he's like, it's not going to affect me because all I care about is Mars.
And I agree with you. It's nice to see somebody being so candid. I mean, I'd argue it's dangerous for a company's like health. Like, if I was over here like espousing some pretty bad shit, like eventually somebody's gonna figure out like my company and like try to shut me down. You know what I mean? So, you know, as a CEO, I kind of expect him to have a little bit of thought. You know, he's a leader, and a lot of people are depending on him to keep them safe. You know, and I just felt like. I just felt like he wasn't really invested in their health, you know. He just, because, I mean, hopefully everybody's aware, but it was just like a couple weeks ago that they announced that Elon Musk was the richest person in the world now. And that was because he did meet his requirements. He made 499,950 Teslas. He was 50 shy from like the goal of 500,000. And so by that, I believe his stocks actually vested. He got the bonuses, and that propelled him to the top. So am I correct on that?
It's partly because that it's I actually did read a lot about this.
You sounded like you did, and I haven't, so that's why I'm asking you, because I would like to get clarification.
The only reason he's the richest person is because of his stocks in Tesla. Like, you're right. They did go up quite a bit because of he hit that mark.
Yep.
But when they were close to folding in was it 2018, I think, and he personally spent a ton of his money and bought a bunch of the stock to keep him afloat. So he's the richest person in the world now because since then the stock's been going up, and he owns so much of it because he basically bailed himself out. That's why, like, it is because of that.
Okay,
it is.
But I'm glad you clarified that point.
Way more stock than he should as the owner because he did that.
Yeah. So just as a natural, you know, part.
Owner. It just happened that they almost folded, and he's like, I'm not going to let it fail, and threw like $100 million into it, and then they kind of made it another few months or something, and then took off from there.
Yeah.
So it's definitely because of him actually hitting his target for once. That definitely helped a lot, but he probably owns like 75% of the stocks in Tesla.
I think what I'm most excited about, what he brings to the table, Like, even though I may not like him as a person, I'm excited about what his investment and his like motivations are going to do for energy storage, batteries, and so much more.
Oh, definitely.
The lithium, they say that lithium deposits will run out eventually. There's not enough lithium on this planet to store the energy that we need. So I'm always reading like r/technology. I'm trying to read r/science. I'm trying to like figure out like what are they doing? Like what's the next like chemical mix for batteries and stuff like that. So that's something I always think about, especially like solar and stuff like
Yeah.
green
Well,
energy.
I think it's funny because lithium is terrible for the environment.
Yeah, it's awful.
But it's funny because they use lithium batteries in Priuses, or at least they used to.
Right.
And that was like their whole thing, like, oh, it's better for the environment. And I like saw something somewhere that's like, no, those lithium batteries in the landfill is worse than that car just burning gas the entire existence of the car. And I was like, oh yeah, so green, so you need to replace the battery.
Yeah, exactly. Those batteries aren't cheap, man. I watch a lot of like indie little YouTube channels. I guess they're all indie, right? For them. Well, I don't know. Actually, that's probably not true these days. There's a lot of like mainstream channels on YouTube, but so I watched a lot of smaller channels like doing solar work and what's his name? Jaya or something like that. He's out of California. He takes old VW buses and he makes them into electric. He like guts them and like he collects battery packs and I don't know, pretty good. It's interesting stuff. I like energy. I'm not an electrician or anything, but my background is electronics. Like my background is communications, electronics, satellite communications, and that kind of stuff. So
I'm kind of an electrician.
Yeah. Did you go to school for it?
No, my girlfriend's family owns electrical company.
Oh, okay.
And I worked for them for like the past 3 years or whatever. So I've actually installed quite a few solar panels and stuff like that.
Man, yeah, that's something where I'm working on right now is figure out how to take my home completely off the grid. Like I need solar panels.
Well, if one of those companies goes to your house like, hey, we'll put solar panels on your house for free and it'll cut your electrical bill in half, it's a scam. Don't do it.
Thank you, man. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said
because, solar panels, most of them depend like which one you get and stuff. They last 20 years. But if you bought them outright, it'll take roughly 10 years for them to be worth actually putting in.
Yeah.
But the ones they put on your house, the ones they put in your house should actually pay for your entire electrical bill. But like around here, it's Solar City or whatever. They put it on your roof and they're like, oh, we'll cut your bill in half.
Yeah.
So they do it for free. They cut your bill in half because technically you're paying them after. And they're actually making money because they're charging, like they're making the full amount that you would be paying. Because they're saying, oh, yours is half, but you really did the whole thing.
Dude, why do we constantly get scammed by our own companies?
But see, it is a scam, but it's not. Because
I know what you mean, but it's not to the benefit of the customer at all.
Yeah, no, it is halving your electrical bill though. So like that's the biggest thing. Everyone's like, yeah, sure, half my electrical bill, whatever.
Yeah, but that's because they don't tell those people, but if you paid for this, you would have no electrical bill.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I just wish like I lived in a country that would just like tell me what it is,
Yeah, but solar panels are expensive though. Like they are very expensive.
Yeah.
They need to come up with a way that makes them more efficient and cheaper because
I would argue that it's not necessarily the solar panel that is expensive, but the batteries that you'll use to store it.
Well, when you have them on your house, there isn't really much of a battery. It really just throws it back into the grid.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, if you're not going to store it, yeah. If you only plan on collecting during the day. But I'm just saying, like most people, I would hope would put some friggin' batteries on their system, no?
I
mean, the point is you sell it back during the day at a rate higher than you would use at night. So basically, at the end of the day, at the end of the month, you have a zero sum.
Yeah, I'm not sure about houses because I haven't done a ton of like house electrical stuff, but I know for like bigger companies, they like if you own a whole building and you have multiple occupants in it, they'll put solar panels on the roof. All of that power just goes directly into the grid.
Yeah.
Like that's how the person tries to offset the cost of the building and
Right.
actually make money. So it goes right back into the grid. And like in your fire alarm panel, there's batteries. So if the power goes out, there's enough battery life in those batteries to like put on a quarter of your lights
Right.
for
Right.
like 3 or 4 hours or whatever.
No, I think the battery solution really only makes sense for like, you know, if you were like a company that uses a lot of electricity, you know, and you were like a solo like unit or whatever, or a residential house, like if you were in a strip mall, I don't think that would make sense at all.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just such a different environment. But eventually, I think they'll be forced to.
Yeah.
You know, because so many people are going solar. How do you maintain an electric company?
Well, I saw I was reading, it was on Twitter. I don't remember who actually published the article, but it's because of Biden's new like green initiative thing. They wanted to get rid of like the coal plants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And over like the past, I think like 50 years, our power usage, like the need for it has been going up a lot. And now we're trying to get rid of actually making energy because we're trying to get rid of the coal plants and stuff.
Right.
And they were talking about like how we're going to like subsidize losing all of that and not adding things and whatever. And they didn't like, I don't know if they just don't have the complete document of like Biden's thing or whatever, but they just didn't have anything of like how we're actually going to still produce all of that power.
Well, I think a lot of people want to knock down the Green Deal. I think the Green Deal is an important step forward. And
we're so far behind.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, dude,
the U.S. in general. I'm pretty sure I have friends in Germany. By the end of like 2022, I think they're going to be like 90% green.
Yeah, I think
like
Hawaii is like
country.
100% green at this point. I believe they announced they're 100% green. Hawaii.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, and like it's incredible, like the path, you know, that a lot of these countries and states are making forward. You know, if anything, it's been stifled here so bad that I'm hoping with the new new administration that we see a lot of movement in that direction.
Yeah. Well, I think with the Green Deal thing, it'll force companies to actually like advance green technology in general. Because I remember watching a show on Discovery Channel of like the new things people are coming out with to like create power.
Yeah.
And there was one in Australia that they had like buoys underwater that were in certain spots where the current was really heavy. So it would like rock the buoy back and forth and that would like make power and stuff. And it was just like super interesting. It was like, well, you have to run all of this wire all the way out there, but like clearly there's troubles with it. But I was like, that's just interesting. They're like, hey, just throw something underwater and the current will make electricity. Like just stuff like that would be cool to see.
It's not the Hudson. Is it the Hudson? It might be the Hudson, but it's somewhere here, either on the Hudson side or like the Atlantic side. They put like the big turbines. They basically mounted them to the sea floor, so so for tidal energy. So it's like, you know, the currents come in and out. They basically spin the turbines and they produce electricity. But what they found is the water is so strong, it just ripped them right out. And so
yeah, that's why in Australia it was literally like this big buoy that was underground. Like it was meant to. They were trying, because the currents there on like one of the points somewhere or something's like super rough. So that's why they put it there, because like, oh, it'll produce the most energy. So like, I don't know what they did to keep it there, but
yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff coming up. Like you know what blew my mind? Molten salt. You know, where like they it might be Australia as well, actually. or it could be the Southwest desert. But they had like basically a mirror farm, and they take the sun's rays and they focus it in on the tower, and it hits this like spot on the tower, and it inside it's salt, and it melts it. And it basically molten salt can retain like heat and stuff like that for such a long period of time, and you can extract a lot of energy out of it, more so than like water and steam and stuff like that. And so that's an interesting technology. But the downside is they say if the salt ever cools down, the entire system needs to be thrown away. Like you can't like clean it. Like once it stops, that's it. Yeah. How do you feel about nuclear?
Every time a bird goes through, it's just like chicken.
Right? Just like, ooh, tasty. Perfectly salted.
How I feel about nuclear?
Yeah.
I don't know. See, I'm okay with it. It's just like, I don't know. It's one of those things, like it produces so much power. And if you handle it properly, shouldn't like overly pollute the earth.
Right.
But there's so many things that can just go wrong with it. That's the problem. Like there's so many things that go wrong. Like if a nuclear power plant melts down, like and blows up, like what is that? Like a quarter of our country's gone just because one of them blew up, because there's so many like relatively close to each other, and like the wind like takes it, and then like it's like when a volcano goes off. Like you get a cloud of smoke for like thousands of miles because it goes to the atmosphere and wind blows it.
I feel like we need to, like, we're still very young in like nuclear energy, like our knowledge, our safety practices, like how to harness it correctly. I feel like, because we only got it in like what, the 50s, basically World War II gave us nuclear technology. And, a lot of people realize it's only 70 years. Only 70 years. But people will point to like 3 Mile Island, Chernobyl and stuff like that, or Fukushima, and say, well, look at this. It's destroyed everything. We're like, yeah, but it's a lot cleaner than like coal and stuff like that.
We just have to get dumb though.
Yeah, we just have to stop being dumb. We just need to do it right.
I still think it's weird though that like they just put like radioactive rods in the water and it makes heat. Like, how have we not come up with like something else that creates more power than water? You know what I mean? Like,
no, radiation. And
why are we putting in water?
Yeah, well, it's mostly just to keep it cool, because don't you have to cycle the water? Like a lot of places.
Like what causes the energy is the water heating up. Like that's what you're like capturing with it. But yeah, they're cycling it, but it's still just like, I don't know. You'd think there'd be something else that would be better than water.
I wonder, like, I don't know a lot about technology as far as nuclear, like how, like the production and like that kind of side. Like, I don't know the sciencey part of it, but I know the general like usage of it. I know it more like in a scientific way, like as the sun breaks down, like, the processes and creates heavier and heavier elements and nuclear fission and that kind of stuff. But as far as like building power plants, I just don't know if nuclear. I think nuclear is great for certain situations, like deep space, voyages and stuff like that. Stuff where you can't get sunlight and energy and wind and other forces to do the work for you. But it's just,
we should use volcanoes.
Yeah, have you ever been to a volcano?
No.
No.
Oh
man, have you? Not even close to like where you could just see one?
No, not really. I went to Pompeii, but like not an active volcano. Like I haven't been to an active volcano. Like I really want to go to Hawaii so I can go hike around the volcano.
Yeah, I went to Maui, and I worked at the telescope on top of the mountain there in Hawaii. There's two separate areas for the telescopes. One is for like NASA, and one is for the Air Force. And I worked on the Air Force one, which was really cool. But I actually saw. What's that?
I said now it's for the Space Force.
Dude, all my friends on Facebook are wearing their stupid Space Force uniforms. And I just want to like type to everyone. I'm like, take it off, take that off. What are you doing? But
That's so good. The Space Force.
yeah, the space, and they all know it's silly, but it is what it is. Um, it's. I saw my first. All right, so I saw my first volcano when I went to the Philippines. So my wife is from an area called Bicol, and there's a famous active volcano there called Mount Mayon volcano. So if you know, I don't know if you know anything about the Philippines, but in like 1991, they had another active volcano go off in outside of Angeles City. It was Mount Pinatubo. It actually basically covered everything. We lost our military bases at that time due to that, the airfield being covered and everything. But anyway, we took a vacation back to my wife's place, and we stayed at this hotel that was 20 kilometers from the volcano. But it seemed like I could reach out and just touch the volcano. It was so enormous, and the steam was still coming off of it. And my wife said, yeah, sometimes you'll see the hot lava like still coming out. And when she told me that, I remember looking at her. I said, "Why are we here?" like I'm pretty sure that thing can hit us.
That's the safest volcano to be around, though.
Right.
One that's active, one that's like actively erupting all the time, like that. It's good. It's the ones that aren't. It's the dormant ones you gotta be careful of.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Those are the ones that blow up when they erupt.
Dude, volcanoes are weird, man. Like they because in a picture you don't think that they're that big, but they're mountains. They're hot mountains.
Yeah, they're just icebergs, but the opposite.
Yeah, quite the opposite.
You're like, oh, the volcano's just the top of it, and then you're like, oh wow, that's the whole mountain, and it goes deeper. Okay,
right. Dude, yeah, well, I hope to travel more.
Volcano.
Wait, what's that?
Yellowstone's a volcano. Basically the entire Yellowstone is a volcano.
Right, because it heats up the water and does the geysers. Have you ever been out there?
No, I need to go there too.
Yeah, I've not been out there. I actually have not traveled as much of America as I should.
Yeah.
But, what can you do? Dude, when are you for those that don't know, we're gonna take it just a second here because Havrix, when do you stream? Well, I want to at least like mid like podcast plug or whatever.
I stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I skipped Wednesday, right? I don't know. Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. At 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I usually start before that, but
why do you have a reason for your time slot by chance? Is it just what works for you?
That's just like, I was like, I could wake up at 9. So
see, streamers are lazy.
Yeah, I was like, I can wake up at 9. So like, that's just when I stream because of that. I usually stream for 3 or 4 hours.
How have you been on your schedule? Like looking back from the time that you've committed to yourself saying, I'm going to do this. Like, do you feel like you've been pretty good?
So I'm good until I take a break. Like I took a break for like Christmas and New Year's and stuff. So like, because of the days those fell on, I was like, oh, okay, I'm not going to stream these few days and stuff like that. And then like after that, I was like, oh, I'm off my schedule. So it just like kind of slid to the side a little bit. But I started to pick it back up. So I'm doing good now. And I was doing good before. But like the holidays just messed everything up.
See, I have a rule. I don't go more than 2 or 3 days. If I go more than 2 or 3 days, I start getting this like antsy feeling, like I'm not gonna know how to come back onto the camera. Mm-hmm. I'm not like I feel like 2 days is like my buffer zone, and then after that it all falls apart. So I try not to miss anything if I can.
Well, around the holidays, I went to go see my sister in California, like her and her family.
Yeah.
So I was off for like a week, and then all the holidays came up, and I would just like like December was just like a complete cluster for me. I was not very good on my schedule in December.
You know, I will say this though, if, for somebody like me, because I don't really travel, especially with COVID and stuff. And so this year we all said, hey, nobody's going to anybody's house. Like, love you guys. Merry Christmas, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of streamers really were not streaming. Like, everybody that's on my list that I follow, I'm telling you, there was at best like 3 or 4. Like, if you don't have more than like 500 people watching you, concurrently, like, you probably weren't streaming. And so like, that was the least amount of like raids I ever did. But like, my numbers were solid. I was reaching into the 40s on a regular basis during the holidays. And that was something that stood out for me. But I firmly believe that family comes first. So had I had somewhere to go, like maybe next year when everybody's vaccinated or whatever, I might take 2 weeks off. That'll be weird.
Yeah. Well, so I went to California because I think the last time I was there was 3 or 4 years ago when my sister got married again. So
Oh, nice.
it's been quite a while since I've been to see her.
Yeah.
But like before we left, like I wasn't seeing anyone. Like when COVID started, my mom said that we couldn't go to their house because my mom's a nurse and she was working in the COVID ward for
geez. Yeah.
like 3 or 4 months. So she's like, you can't come here. And we're like, but we come here all the time. And she's like, you can't. But I've really only seen my family, like my parents and my sister, because we're the only ones that see each other. Like, we're not seeing anyone else either. Like, and we live close together.
Yeah.
So we're all like working from home besides my mom. So it's like, if she gets sick, then we would probably get sick, but we wouldn't be spreading it to anyone else because we don't see anyone else.
Yeah.
Which is not the right way to think about it. But we're just like an Italian family that we need to see each other. You know what I mean? Like,
I definitely understand that. Like, for a lot of people, this has been absolutely like soul breaking. Like it's been a huge hit, and I understand. But I guess for me, I've taken the approach that I love you enough to where I want to see you next summer. And so while that hurts for me to actually say that and to think that I won't see some of these people I absolutely love and enjoy hanging out with, I'd rather take a year off than not ever see, them again.
Yeah. See, I think about that way too, but the person who would get sick, like who would have got everyone else sick, would be my mom.
Yeah.
And she already lives with my dad.
Right.
So if she got sick, he'd get sick. So none of us have really seen anyone else. So, and we're all relatively, like, we're healthy. Like, if we're being honest, the people who would die would be my parents. So
yeah,
we're all just like, it's okay to see them sometimes. But
man,
we're also not putting ourselves really in a situation to
I don't know
sick.
though, man, because they just had like, wasn't there like a gold medalist Olympus? Like, he was 31 years old, perfect health, like just passed away. Because like some of the people that got it that didn't pass away blew my mind. Like I'll give you a perfect example. Donald Trump. Like, I'm not trying to make this political, but Donald Trump, he was the president of the United States. He got it. We all know he's like 700 pounds and like he eats cheeseburgers all day. He doesn't exercise. Like, he is not
and
the
he's
epitome.
Like 70 something.
Yeah. And then like he walked away from COVID. Like, it was like, he was like, and I know that he has the medical care, which is probably the only way he survived. He had access to experimental drugs that none of us have access to. So maybe bad example, but like there's a lot of people like Herman Cain. I expected him to pass away. There's a lot of people that you were like, yeah, they're not making it through this. But then there's those surprise people. You're like, wow, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. It's just.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things, man. Unfortunately,
exactly.
I think COVID's one of those things that we're just gonna probably talk about for the next like 20 years.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I just think it's just been so devastating. Not just because we can't go out, but it's affected so many people, you know, in so many ways. Businesses going out, everything else. Do you see that like where you live? Are you heavy hit? Um,
So yeah, kind of. I live in the city, so it's a little easier for restaurants and stuff to still stay in business because like you just get DoorDash or whatever.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, like a lot of the restaurants around us are primarily bars. So it's definitely been hard for them. Like when when it was still warm out and we could eat outside, we'd go and like we always like left like a 35% tip because you're like, I feel bad for you. This is the first
I've
time
been
you've
tipping
worked
heavier
in,
too. Yeah.
this is the first time you've worked in 5 months and you're
Right.
still can barely work. So but yeah, it's I don't know. I haven't seen any places really like close, um, like for good, but it could just be the area where I live that they haven't.
Because I would say within a 3 mile radius of my house, I kind of live between two major cities. So it's not like rural, it's like suburban. And
Mhm.
I would say 40% of our businesses have gone out with like for sale signs still actively on the property. Like
Yeah,
no company has moved in or anything like that. And you know, I'd say we started seeing it around April or May, and it was quite frankly, it was very scary. Um, you know, even my business has been impacted so harshly because you know, with nobody working, nobody buys your product.
yeah. Well, I know where my parents live. It's the suburbs, but it's a very towny run place.
Yeah,
So it it seems like all the towny places are doing really well, like the restaurants and stuff. Because like there's just one restaurant. It's just this Italian place. We go there all the time. Like it's great. They've had the same waitresses since they were like 14. Like it's literally been the same people there forever. It's funny. There's pictures on the wall of like your waitress from like 40 years ago. Um,
wow.
and there's like the chain restaurants clearly aren't doing well though. Like
Yeah,
you can tell they're not doing well, but like because the town is so like towny oriented, like those places are still like packed. Like you can't even get them on DoorDash because they can't keep up with the orders. Like you have to call them and stuff like that.
I just started using DoorDash last month. It's actually a pretty good service.
Yeah. Well, I live in Worcester, so I use DoorDash for everything because I can get basically anything I want.
But you're a mess, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like literally an hour and a half from me.
Yeah. I always tell people I live in Boston because that's the only place people know is in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Worcester. Oh, you live up
yeah.
there in Worcester?
No one knows where Worcester is.
I
They're like,
do.
what is that? Yeah, you do, but you're from New Hampshire.
No,
So,
I'm from Connecticut.
oh, see, even better.
Yeah, I live
Like,
in New Hampshire, but I actually went to school in Danielson, Connecticut.
oh, yeah. See, you're still from New England, so you know where Worcester
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. Oh, Worcester.
uh, yeah, it's actually funny. So, my parents went to school in Worcester because my dad went to WPI, and my mom went to some nursing school that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
And where I live now, my mom was like, "Oh yeah, we wouldn't go there at night unless your dad and a bunch of his fraternity brothers were with us." Like that's how bad where I live in Worcester used to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we like walk to you probably don't know where this is, but Kelly Square, like it's like 4 blocks down. My parents were like, "Yeah, we didn't walk there during the day
Yeah.
because we would get shot, stabbed, or mugged." And I was like, "Oh, we go to the bars over there." It's been like 30 years since they like went to school here, but it's just funny because I'm like, yeah, it's safe here now, like where I live. Like Worcester itself isn't necessarily safe. Like me and my friend one day walked like 4 blocks in the wrong direction,
Yeah.
and we went 4 blocks too far. Like
I would go up there a little bit when I was a teenager, but not that much. I mean, because there's plenty of. I'm from like southern Connecticut, so I had to be bused 45 minutes to high school, which was in Danielson, Connecticut. I went to a trade school. Here in New England, we have a lot of vocational schools that are ran by the states. I think Massachusetts also has them.
Yeah, I went to trade school.
Actually. You did? What was
Yep.
what was your trade?
Carpentry.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Mine was hairdressing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe it or not,
The bald guy went for
a bald guy. I blame that. Well, they say you're bald because it's from your mother's father. So if your mother's father was bald, you're gonna be bald. And my mother's father, he retired from the Air Force. He was a communications guy. He was absolutely bald. I look almost identical to him. I have his personality, so it really went right through the family.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I used to look exactly like one of my cousins, like basically to the T. And everyone used to call me Little Jim because my cousin Jim, like I looked exactly like him.
Oh, jeez.
It's hilarious though, because my mom has 7 sisters. So,
Big
classic huge Italian family. And it's just funny. Like we don't even see half of them anymore. But like we used to go to Christmas and there'd be like 80 people there. And it's just,
man,
so many.
That's a huge family. I come from a pretty good sized family. Growing up, when we used to do a family reunion on my mom's side, there'd be at least 100 people that showed up easily. It would be in somebody's backyard. Everybody would be like, "Hey, can we do it in your yard?" Be like, "Yeah," and then like 100 people would show up. It's just a group of Italians, Irish. The Italian part was all in-laws. They like all the Irish and French people married the Italians, and then like we all mixed. All the old men would play poker all night. Dude, what kind of carpentry? Do you still do that? Do you like? Are you still into your trade at all from high school?
No, not really. I was finished carpentry, but
okay.
I did it. So when I was in high school, I chose it because I'm like, oh, I've always liked building stuff. I used to go in the woods and build a fort. Like
I did too. That was huge.
Yeah. And so I liked it. And then I worked for a carpenter for like 2 summers. And I was like, wow, this sucks. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, I like being on the computer. Like, I don't want to wake up at 4 a.m. Like, this is garbage. That being said, I did that. And then I worked for a glass place. So I still woke up at the same time. And then after that, I've been working for an electrical company. So still waking up at the same time. So, like
still doing
never got out of the trade thing, but I'm just like, why am I awake at 4? I should be falling asleep.
Yeah. I had originally gone for mechanical drafting. I had scored, I scored perfect on architectural drafting and mechanical drafting. And they had agreed, they accepted me based on my wants to be a mechanical drafter. And, when I did it, it was so easy. I was bored out of my mind. And this was before computers. Like actually like with a pencil and a T-square and like drawing a blueprint. Like I'm really good at it. I don't like doing it, but I'm good at it. And but then like cuz you probably went through the same thing. You get to spend a week in each trade. And at the end you pick your top 3. And at the end, see, when I was in 8th grade and you applied to go to the school, you told them what you wanted to be. And then in 9th grade, your hormones kick in because you're like, wow, I'm in puberty. And so my 13-year-old brain was like, wait a minute, all the girls are in hairdressing. I'm going there.
Yeah.
And that's how I became the first guy to actually graduate from my hairdressing program in my high school. No other dude had graduated before me.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went through quite a few shops actually. Like because you try them all out. Well, you try out we tried out 9, I think. You like chose 9 you wanted to try out and stuff, and like if you got a good enough grade, you could choose it when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Because I remember there was the there's like CIS, so like the computer science and like hardware one. And I liked it, but I hated the teacher. He was just the worst kind of person. And he was the varsity basketball coach too.
Yeah.
And like I just hated him with a passion. I just couldn't stand the guy. And he didn't like me either because I did not get a good enough grade. And I was like, oh no, I was better than most people in that week. I should have got a good enough grade. Yeah, my senior year of high school, I didn't play basketball because I didn't want to be on varsity. Like, I just couldn't. I was like, I can't have him be my coach. Like junior year, the gym teacher was like the not varsity. Jesus.
Dude, our varsity coach was the worst, man.
Yeah, I just
JV.
couldn't. Oh, it was JV. That's what I can think of. So the gym teacher was the JV coach. Literally the coolest guy ever. He was there like since the school opened in like 55.
Yeah.
He was hilarious. He was the best coach. So junior year, I like talked to him. I'm like, I'm not playing on varsity. Like, if you pick me for varsity, I'm quitting. So put me on JV. So, and like half the other kids did that too, because they're like, nah, this guy sucks. I'm not being honest. Like, he's not my coach.
Oh,
so
man.
My junior year, our JV team was great because it was all juniors and we all like already hit our growth spurt. So we're like a foot taller than all the other teams.
Just crushing them.
It was like the first time JV had a winning season in like 15 years because like we were just bigger than everyone else.
Yeah, they just had to find another way.
I could jump up and touch the rim. Like these kids couldn't hit the backboard.
Yeah, you talk about sandbagging them. Dude, I got to take a piss break real quick. Do you mind hanging out for like 30 seconds? I'll be right back.
Yeah, it's all good.
I don't want to pee myself on stream. So, yeah.
No one would be able to see it.
No, well, I'll never live it down if they find out, though. So that's the thing. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Bye. I'm going to look at chat now because I can. Let's see. Do you guys use dark mode on Twitch or you use the light mode like a crazy person? Honestly, the dark mode version of Twitch, well, dark mode of anything is basically the best thing ever. I can't stand light mode of anything. It just burns your eyes. The first thing I do on literally every single website or application is turn on dark mode if it's possible.
All right, I'm back. I had to sneak in a glass of water too. Holy cow. Dude, talking is hard. A lot of people don't understand how difficult it is to hold a conversation for multiple hours. Yeah. Whether you're talking to somebody or to yourself. Oh, man. So, dude, I wanted to ask you, have you taken a lot of like public speaking classes? Have you, what's helped you like kind of be a streamer?
No, public speaking was definitely my least favorite class in college because we had to take one, and I'm not good at, like, you had to like research something and look it up and make a slideshow and then talk about it. I'm terrible at like remembering those random ass facts to like talk to someone about.
Yeah.
But if it's something that I know about, it's easy. Like if it's something I actually care about, like it's just easy for me to talk about it, and I could just talk randomly about it, just whatever. Give me a time and I'll just do it. So in that class, you got points on, like you had to give the teacher like almost like your script, kind of like your topics or whatever that you're going to talk about during it on the slides and stuff.
Yep.
So I used to give very vague topics to her, and I used to look up the thing, and I used to just literally talk out of my ass for like the 10 minutes that the presentation had to be. And I would get bonus points for talking so naturally that it basically overlooked that I just skipped everything that was on the slideshow. So I like passed the class, but like didn't actually do any of what was asked of me. I just got up there and talked for 10 minutes. And she's like, you sounded so natural. It was great. I was like, that's good, because I did not talk about anything I was supposed to.
Yeah, there's something to be said about natural charisma. When you have like this flow to you, it just, I don't know, it comes across very natural for sure.
Yeah.
I kind of want to like get your opinion on like what kind of advice would you give to somebody that comes to your stream and says, "Hey, I'm thinking about streaming." What kind of advice do you give to a streamer just starting out?
Don't worry about anything but your content. Like, you don't need all this random shit behind you. Like, this is just the rest of this room is a complete cluster. This is the only part that actually looks somewhat put together. And I was like, oh, I need to put like the Xbox and all those games and stuff somewhere. I'm like, yeah, I'll put it on a shelf behind me because then it'll look decent. And like,
that's
stuff
brilliant.
like that. Like, none of that's necessary. Like, you clearly have a good microphone. My microphone is good, but I've had it for a long time.
Yeah, you do sound great.
Yeah, your headset microphone is perfectly good enough, especially if you're just streaming.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Like, get a cheap webcam if you like. You have a better chance of being watched and like noticed if you have a webcam. Like, people say all the time, there's like a couple of big streamers that don't have webcams. They started like 15 years ago. Like,
right, when you didn't have to.
Yeah, they have viewers because they're famous. Like,
right.
Like they're famous for the sake of being famous, basically, at this point. Like, so having just those simple things that you could literally spend, like, if you play games, you have a headset. Like, you do. You're going to have a mic on it, whether it's good or bad, like, who cares? And same with the webcam. Get a $20 webcam on Amazon, like, just so they can see you and just, like, build a connection with the viewers, basically, and work on your content. And
let me ask you just a quick question on that webcam part. If you raid somebody, do you care whether they have a webcam or not? Like, is it part of your, like, yeah, I'll raid that guy? Is that part of your like solution?
I usually raid people that I've watched before.
Yep.
And I don't usually watch people if they don't have a webcam.
Okay. I'm curious because I get a lot of pushback when I say I don't raid people without, if you don't have a webcam, I don't even look at your stream.
Well, it's just like, it's one of those things that you can't really pull the, I can't afford a webcam, because you bought the game. Like,
you're paying for internet.
Yeah, like, it's just one of those things that's like, if you have a laptop, it has a webcam in it. If you have a desktop and like, if you're like, oh, I have a good microphone though, well, you could have just got a shittier microphone and a shitty like webcam. Like, there's just really no, like, you can literally go on Amazon. There's probably like a $5 webcam it'll work. Like, and you can actually make cheap webcams look good with lighting. Like, that costs more, and you're not going to work on that until later. But lighting has a lot to do with how you actually look on camera.
Oh, lighting has changed everything for my stream. So I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that, like, even just like in the OBS settings, if you mess with like your gain and like all the whatever they're called for colors and stuff, you mess with those, you can make your $5 webcam look like it was a $50 webcam. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, I use an actual camera, but that's because I take photos and stuff too when I go hiking. Like,
yeah,
I don't have it just for streaming. Like, I didn't pay $600 for a camera so I could stream with it. Yeah, you did. But that That being said, though, like if you start with cheap stuff, one, your audio is definitely way more important than your video.
Absolutely.
Because your video is what, a 16th of your screen, unless you're doing just chatting. But even then, like your audio is more important. But just take the money that you make from streaming or making content and put it back into the stream to make it better. Like that's what I do.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I would argue that you know, the audio is the most important because half of my audience probably doesn't even watch the stream. They just listen to it.
Yeah, and if we're being honest, if you're playing a game, they're listening to you and watching the game. They're not watching you. Like that's not, well, at least I'm not. I'm not sitting here staring at your little picture while you're playing a game. You know what I mean? Like
see, I do. I do because I want to know.
Old, you're different. You're different.
Yeah. Well, because I'm looking for the social part. I like podcasting. I like the interaction. Like the game is cool. It's like the thing that brings you in. But I don't know. Like this is why we're doing this. Like I want to know you. Like that's why we're not just like I'm not answering. Asking you just questions about your stream and stuff. Because I like having the long form conversation with somebody, and I like seeing like their facial expression when we're having a conversation. I don't know. I like that engagement. And I think it kind of like adds another side or dimension to a person. Because like anybody that watches this after or has been here for the stream, they're going to walk away knowing you at least on a little bit more personal level. So when they show up on your stream next time, they'll be like, oh, I actually know about Havrix, so without the distractions.
I think it's big too to learn how to talk to yourself. Like, I see I follow a lot of streamers on Twitter and stuff. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with, they call it like imposter syndrome when like, you're like, oh, I don't think I shouldn't have this many people watching me and stuff like that. But I think you really need to like be okay with being alone, because you really are, like, chat talks to you and stuff like that. But when they're not talking, you need to be okay with just like talking about random shit to yourself. You know what I mean? Like you need to be okay with just literally talking to no one. And I feel like that was hard for me, especially at the beginning. That's actually why I stopped streaming game dev, because I couldn't do it. I couldn't talk randomly and still like focus on like programming a game. Like when I'm working on a game and I'm not streaming, I have like music up super loud and I'm just like in the zone, like just doing what I'm doing.
Yep, I do the same.
And I feel like when you're streaming, you're never in a zone. Like if you're in a zone, you're in the zone of talking to people, not actually doing what you're streaming, I guess.
This is what makes streaming so difficult, because I prefer the chat. I always make the joke on my stream that, I just brought you guys in by playing Bloons, but you guys are just here listening to a podcast. And, but it's very difficult, because if I play games like Path of Exile or something that takes my attention, that I find that I struggle to engage, because I need to be in the content. And this is why on this podcast, I decided like, hey, we're not going to engage with the audience until the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's you probably don't see as much as I do, where people just like are just lurking. Like I'll have like 10 people watch and no one says anything. Like, so
yes,
you need to talk your way through it even without chat. And I think that's actually what separates a lot of the bigger streamers from smaller ones, is they're good at that. Where like you could argue, oh, well, the bigger streamers always have people talking, but they didn't. Like for a long time they didn't, and they got good at just talking and not actually engaging with anyone because no one's engaging with them. So then they're better now at talking to everyone, because they could just talk for hours and not even be talking to anyone.
Do you find that you've come at least a little ways at getting people to engage with you in the chat? Have you found ways to get them to chat to you?
Yes and no. I have the little stream avatars thing, so I can see who's actually watching.
Yeah.
And I do get to know people that stop by a lot. And I find that if I can get someone to start talking, more people will start talking. So like if I'll see someone that I know that has been watching for a while that I've talked to before, and I'll just like basically bring up something from the other day or something like oh, I have to go to class, so like maybe I ask them how school's going or something, and that gets them to start talking, and then other people start talking, and it just kind of goes from there.
Yeah.
But
I have found from my experience when I first started playing Bloons, like I couldn't get anybody to talk to me when I was playing Path of Exile. Like somebody would come in and be like, "Hey, what's that armor piece that you're wearing?" And then they would leave, after I answered it. But Bloons started happening, and I got a lot of people that wanted to troll me at first. Being old, being bald, being all this stuff, and then they realized that I was fun to bully, but because I would push back and stuff like that, or I'd roll with it. And then I found when I've always been somewhat good at engaging with people, but streaming has been a little bit challenging because you're engaging with somebody that you can't see. It's just text on a screen that moves up. Like you don't know. Yeah. It could be one guy with 8 different accounts chatting with you, or it could be 100 different people. And so I always try to like talk about random stuff when I'm streaming, because if I put out 50 different topics on a stream, I'm bound to hit a couple that will get somebody in the chat to be like, "Hey, I want to chime in on that."
Yeah.
And I feel like the more inclusive you make it, the more they want to engage with you. So it's very high on my priority. When I get worried when nobody's chatting.
Yeah.
That's when I get scared.
When no one talks.
Yeah, because it's not normal. When you come to my stream, like most people, okay, so I'll tell you a little something. Like the last few raids from like bigger streamers than me, it's been a little funny because they'll come into the stream and they'll mention how fast my chat is going. Because when I go and visit some of them in their chat doesn't, like, there's nobody talking. Like, I've been blown away how many streams I've been to that have 40 or 50 concurrent viewers and nobody's chatting.
Yeah.
I was watching some guy do City Skylines like 2 weeks ago, and he had 104 people watching him. He was getting maybe a couple messages per minute. Now, he could have been botting, but I don't think so. I think he was a legit big streamer. Like, he had the full studio and all that. So, I don't know. That's something I've always tried to work harder on, is just trying to get the engagement up. Because, I just feel like when people feel like they're part of it, they come back a lot more.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Because, especially when I was playing DDA, you can have 4 people in that, same with Bloons, and it's just I would get people that would tune into the stream just to play, because they didn't want to play alone or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'd get it started when I started streaming DDA, I'd have 4 or 5 viewers, and it was the people playing with me. But that just grew. You obviously, it's easier to get viewers when you have viewers. No one's going to come in if you have one person watching. They might, but they want to socialize with the chat too. It's not just them socializing with you. It's them talking to everyone else as well. So it's kind of just jumping into a Reddit sub and just talking to people with the same interests as you. So
yeah, no, I love when people come in and they'll throw something down and we just kind of go for it,
Yeah.
I look forward here in a few minutes, for those that are in the chat or whatever, we're going to open it up to you guys to, turn in some questions. We're not there yet, but
see how troll the questions are.
Right. We'll see what they want to ask. But I'm not done yet. So we will get them in momentarily. I know that they're in the wings waiting, but, what are you, let me see. So you actively game dev right now, right? For yourself. Like what are you working on right now?
I'm working on another dumb little app because I wanted to like teach myself more in depth of like the UI and stuff because I use Unity to make games. So I wanted to learn more of how the UI works and how to implement things, stuff like that. So making it's basically like a little Space Invaders kind of like game for your phone, but you can like buy a new ship and get new like flames for your rocket and stuff like that, and new bullets and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I'm hoping to finish that this week, because it's basically been done for like 4 months and I just haven't like polished it off. Um, but I'm doing that, and then I started recreating some of the old Flash games that I used to like to play, just like
Nice.
as something to do. So
Do
I've been
you
doing that too.
do you ever collaborate with other devs?
No, not really. I don't. I don't know a ton of other devs, so I've been trying to like build up my network and stuff, and I'm like kind of friends with a few other indie companies and stuff like that, but a lot of them have like one game that they make and are working on and stuff like that, and it's like two people.
Right.
So there's this game Mage Quit that these two brothers make, and I'm like kind of friends with them. I've last few times went to PAX, I like hung out with them and talked to them a bit and stuff like that, but they're just working on their game and I'm just working on stuff, and it's just like
so
one of, it's
so
one of those things that like if you're an indie dev, you don't have time. Like you do the things you do and then you go to sleep.
yeah,
So
yeah, that's understandable then. That's no, because I don't know much about the space, and I don't know, like I know a lot of like coders and stuff like that, and they're pretty like isolated. Like I knew a couple high level coders, programmers, whatever, however they address themselves. And when we were getting out of the military, some of them wanted to go work for Amazon, and one or two did go to Amazon. Another one did not. And but they would always like just solo whatever projects they had. Like they didn't want any
mhm.
outside input. They were very isolated, and maybe that's one of the traits of a game developer.
Yeah, so the whole people don't understand programming unless they're a programmer.
Yeah.
Like they're like, "Oh, you're on a team, work together." It's so much easier just to do it yourself. Like
Yeah, I
like
can
you,
see
you'll
that.
get stuck and it's like, oh, it's nice if someone could help you and stuff like that, but like everyone like has their own style and like how they do things.
Yeah.
So when you throw another person in, if they're not doing it the same exact way, which like why would they be, it really does throw off your flow of things. So it's just like I don't know. It is hard to collab with people like programming wise. And then I
Right.
know some programmers that would completely disagree. But it definitely matters on like what you're programming to.
Now,
Like
what about the art assets? Do you do those yourself as well, or
so I've been doing it myself just because I don't um, want to pay someone else to do them or buy them or whatever. Um, but that's not usually difficult. I can kind of do pixel art, and that's the art I like, and that's actually like how I want to make my games. I like the like old school pixel feel and stuff like that. Um,
like the 8-bit stuff from like Nintendo, or
well, I do everything in 64 or 32 bit,
okay,
but
okay,
kind of, like just
more
doing
like
things in
Sega
pixels
Genesis.
makes it looks older.
Yeah.
I'm not going to like owl boy it and do like 200 and whatever bit for every single thing. That's just I don't have that amount of art skill to just blend. I can't even blend colors to do that. So, um, but like that aspect isn't that hard. I feel like the hardest part is just like collabing on code. Everything else is relatively easy. Like an artist, like you're just like, I need animation of this and this. I need jump. I need this, like whatever, and they'll do it. I think the
Yeah.
hardest part of the artist is like telling them they're done. Like you got to get like I never met an artist that would ever say something's done. Like
Right.
it's never good enough for an artist ever.
No, it's always like,
Like-
hey, can I get one more shot at that?
Yeah, like everyone's like, oh yeah, but like artists and blah blah. I'm like, no, you're like you have 2 weeks. Like that's not enough time. Like you have 2 weeks. That's it.
Right.
You would take 4 years if I gave it to you, so you get 2 weeks.
That's something I've never had to work in like a commercial art setting. Have you done like actual like working in a game dev company at all, or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked at a small indie company called Hit Point. It's in Greenfield, Mass. So middle of nowhere.
Oh, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
Like I've only done the art for myself. I mean, I've taken some commissions to where like I do logos and stuff for people or like their social media. But for the most part, after I graduated college and I got my art degree, I've never gone on to like do commercial art or anything.
Yeah. I remember when I went to school, they like kind of help you get a job after, not really. But they're like, oh, you're a programmer. That's good. They're like, you can work anywhere. And it's like, yes and no. Like all of my experience is in game programming. So like you apply to work somewhere else, just like as a software engineer, it's different. Like people don't understand that. Like it is completely different. There's like knowing one language to another can be completely different. So
yeah.
But like kids that go there for art and stuff, it's hard to find an art job unless you're making like logos and stuff. Like there's a big industry that makes like the logos and art and stuff for websites and all that stuff. It's a very small industry of like character art.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's such a niche thing, you know.
Yeah.
Like there's so many different types of art that I can't do. Like I don't want to sculpt anything. I can't do like metal fabrication art. Like there's so many things, you know, I'm sure it's the same for you guys. So yeah, there's no doubt about that.
I took a Houdini class. You know what that is?
Yeah, actually I do.
Yeah. So everyone that was there was like, yeah, I'm doing this for games and stuff. And the teacher's like, that's cool. I've worked on a couple of games. He's like, I do special effects for TV shows.
Really?
Yeah. I forget which show it was. Actually, I don't think I could say even if I remembered. But he's in for some show and he's like, yeah, this is what I did the other day. And he's like, this took me a week to do. And it was literally someone punching through a wall. And that was it. It was like 7 seconds. And he's like, it took me 2 weeks to do this.
Yeah, actually, I had a teacher in college and his side work was animation for like big studios. And he showed us like this like animation mock-up. Keep in mind, this is 2006 before like the software got really good, you know? And he said he had worked on it for like something like 4 months and had hundreds of hours into it. I was blown away. I was blown away just by modeling something was going to take that long.
Well, it's funny. Some of my teachers, I'm just like, why are you a teacher? Like
Because it pays good and it has benefits.
Yeah, but that guy, he was like, he basically had his own company with a couple other people doing animations for like shows and movies and stuff. I was like, do they pay you here or you just do this like because it's fun? And then like the head of the game department used to design tanks for the military, has like a bunch of patents and stuff. Nice. And like all this shit. I'm like, do you just live in a mansion somewhere? Like, I'm going to teach today. Like, yeah. And I'm just like, I said something one time, I'm like, do you miss being an engineer for the military? He's like, miss it. I still do it. I'm like, why are you here? Like,
because they have their ends. They have their ends and they're ready to go. You know?
No, I know, but like I think that's why my like education was so good. Cause like none of the teachers were there to make money. They like all already made their money. Like, you know, like they're already past the point where they're like either passively making money because, you know, you just own a patent on the Tiger tank that the US makes or whatever. Or like you just get paid $1 million to do animations for a show that you do like in your spare time.
Yeah.
So they were there because they like genuinely wanted to teach you. And that's definitely what made it such a good like experience.
Yeah, I would say my teachers for the most part wanted to be there, but half of them were drunks anyway. And they were really there for the state benefits, let's be
Yeah.
honest, for the most part. But
Well,
but I learned a
my
lot from
game
them.
dev, my game dev school is private,
Oh,
so
so you,
they,
yeah, so that's a little bit different then.
yeah, they didn't get state benefits. They got paid quite a bit probably to be teachers there though.
I would hope so, right? Do game devs make good money?
If you're good
Yeah.
and if you're a programmer.
I don't know like what the average salary is of a game
So
dev, but I'm
program
sure.
like game programmers make roughly the same as like a software engineer would.
Okay.
But then like so everything else is relevant. So like the writers probably make the least amount. Artists probably don't make that much either. But if you work in like an indie studio, you
Yeah.
make way more. You either make way less or way more, and it can fluctuate from year to year because like
Because it depends what you put out, how the company's
yeah,
doing. Like,
most of them do like product sharing. So like you put out a game, maybe you're an artist and you're only making like $40,000 a year to be an artist,
yeah.
but your game does really good, so you end up making 400 that year. Like so, it's just one of those things.
Okay. I I don't know if like the new generation are if they're all wanting to be YouTubers or if they all want to be game devs or if they all want to be accountants. I don't know. Like I have one of my kids want to be a game dev. Like, but we're still probably a few years from like seeing that kind of come out.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think a lot of kids these days just want to be YouTubers or Twitch streamers.
They want to be Twitch streamers. When I was growing up, everyone wanted to be a YouTuber.
Man, it's just so crazy, dude. Growing up, everybody wanted to play like pro sports and stuff because none of this shit existed. I feel like I was born 20 years too early, man. Like I was born to be in this like part
No,
of
you should have just started streaming once it came out.
that's
Once
probably my
Twitch was a thing, you should have started streaming right away.
yeah, that was I didn't find Twitch until 2017. And it was because I had just retired from the military. I had nothing going on. I was sitting in the Philippines. I was living in the Philippines. And I think somebody had mentioned Twitch to me. So I had like loaded it up and I wanted to watch people play Path of Exile. And for some reason, it never clicked that I should turn my camera on and just play. Like I never considered it until I came back to the US. And
Yeah.
I was sitting here and I was like, maybe I should try my hand. Like I think I had like $150 and I bought a stream deck.
Yeah. I should have started streaming a long time ago, but like I don't know. I just didn't. Like because I remember watching like World of Warcraft 3s at on what was it, the MLG network, which was what they streamed all the professional gaming things on before Twitch was even a thing.
Yeah, I see. I remember ZDNet. I remember G4.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then when Twitch came out, I should have started streaming World of Warcraft because I was good then. Like
Dude,
I
you
would,
you'd be like one of those top ones. We couldn't even have this conversation. You'd be like, I don't
yeah,
have time for you. I play World of Warcraft.
but like I was actually good then. Like complete missed opportunity because I was actually good at WoW then. I was like at the level right below the pros. Like me and my friends used to, we'd get invited to like the trials tournaments and stuff because we were ranked high enough. But we're all just like, no, I can't practice for that. I have school tomorrow, and like I can't take a day off of school. My mom would kill me to like play in a tournament and stuff like that. So like complete opportunity missed. And
Damn.
I played WoW again like 2 years ago. I'm not that good anymore.
No, I feel like if you take some time away, it can be tough to come back in. For some of these games, especially.
Yeah.
Like that's why I don't take a league off from Path of Exile. I'm afraid that I'll miss everything.
Yeah. Yeah, because like I used to talk to a bunch of the pros that were from the US that like played World of Warcraft and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I was like kind of internet friends with them. Like I wasn't messaging them outside of game and stuff, but like we'd talk to each other because I'd go up against them every once in a while. Like
Yeah.
I definitely wasn't good enough to be a pro, but I was almost there. I was good enough to see them while I was playing.
Damn, dude. See, that's the tough part about getting older.
Yeah.
You lose the reflex. You lose that.
Yeah.
I think let me see. Hold on. Let me get the chat back on the screen for everybody. Just so you guys know, if you guys want to ask any questions, I did put a command in there, exclamation mark. What was it? Hold on. Oh, no. I'm sorry. It's the channel reward. So if you guys want to ask a question, you guys can start getting those ready. We're going to keep talking, but I just want everybody to know, if you've already submitted a question, I know there was 2 turn-ins during the question. I can tell you, Havrix, one was, how tall are you?
I'm only 6 foot.
Only 6 foot.
That was the question?
No big deal. That was one question.
Oh, I actually have a funny story about that. So my girlfriend's like 5'1", 5'2", and I was just playing games with my friends the other day, and I hear she's like, "Joe, come here. And I was like, "What?" She's like, "It's important." And I was like, "Fine." So I like got up and went in there. She was on her like little stool she has in the kitchen, so she can like reach the top shelf, right over like where you cook the stove. Jesus, couldn't think of that. And she goes, "This is how you see the stove?" And I was like, "What?" She's like, "You can see the entire stove from up here." And I was like, "This is why I came out here." She's like, you can see into the microwave, like the back of it. And I was like, yeah. So she took the stool and walked around the whole house, and she's like, "This is how you see everything." She's like, she's like, "When you wash your hands, you have to bend over?" I'm like, "Yes." Like,
see, I'm a short guy. So I suffer from what she suffers from.
But it was just funny. She's like, "The coffee table's so low. Do you like bend over completely?" I'm like, "Sometimes I just sit on the couch and then do stuff on it. Like, why bend over that much?" She's like, "This is changing my life." I'm like, "We've been together for 8 years. How is this the first time?"
Some people don't, clue in on something for a while. The first question that was turned in. So I've allowed 10 questions at the end for anybody that wants to turn in that reward. So 2 have been asked, 8 remain. The first one for me was to me, and somebody was asking, what made me join the military? And quite honestly, it was a girlfriend. It was a cute girl that I went to high school with, and I wanted to date her, and she had just signed up for the Air Force. I didn't have much going on. I came from a poor family, so there was no college. There was none of that like on the horizon. And I was working full-time in the salon. So she looked at me one day. She's like, "Hey, you want to join the Air Force with me?" And I was like, "Yeah, all right, that's cool." So I went down to the recruiter, and I joined the Air Force, and then that was it. Like there was no like patriotic stuff. There was no like.
Never saw her again.
We broke up right after basic training. After we graduated basic training, I went down. I spent like 8 days with her, and then she never spoke to me again because she found a bunch of other dudes.
So the real question is: so I've had a few friends that are in the military.
Yeah.
And there's 2. This is very un-PC for the world now.
That's okay.
There's 2 rating systems. Like when you're like, "Oh, she's hot," 1 out of 10. But there's a different rating system in the military, because if you're hot in the military, like if you're a 7 in the military, you're basically a 12 out of the military.
So that is true. We call these, so some have been referred to as desert queens. I don't know if you've ever heard that term.
No, I've heard WMs.
So, so desert queens is a reference to average-looking women. They're nice people. I have nothing against them. This is just the definition. Please don't kill me. But average-looking women would be deployed for 6 months, And keep in mind that women only make up, well, now they make up 14% of the amount of people that are in the military. 14% of the military are female. So that still remains, what, 86% of males? And when you deploy for 6 months, a year, you can imagine things start looking pretty good. You know what I mean? So you can only jerk off so many times is what I'm getting at. So we call them desert queens because they're in the middle of the Middle East. And there's like 3 of them on the entire base for like 300 dudes. 300 thirsty dudes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
She's a normal 5, military 8.
Yeah, or really, like, she's definitely an 11. If she's a 5, she's definitely an 11. Like, there was some crazy stuff that came out of there. There were prostitute rings and everything that came out of there. It was weird, man, because guys would get so desperate. They would start sliding, like, women money. And, like, women were leaving with knots of cash in their luggage and going through customs, and customs were finding these huge wads of cash. They're like, why would you be coming out of Saudi Arabia with, like, $40,000?
With American dollars.
Yeah. Like, there was this story when I was there. There was these 2 girls that worked as EMTs on the base, and they were going around picking up people, and one of them in the back was servicing guys, collecting money and dropping them off. Dude, that stuff was crazy. They got busted for that, obviously. Otherwise, I wouldn't know. But yeah, no, to your point, yes, that is true. This is a big reason why I think they were scared of women serving on the front lines. Not because they couldn't handle it, but because they knew the guys couldn't handle it.
I had a friend that was in the Army, and his whole view of it was he didn't care if there was women in the military. All he cares is that if he gets shot, she can throw him over his shoulder and bring him, like, and save him. And I was like,
plenty of weak guys,
like,
too.
Oh no, he's the same way. Like, that's what he meant. Like, he's like, it doesn't bother me if you're a man or woman. Like, as long as you can carry me, I don't care.
That's it. Like, I just need to know that you can save me.
Yeah. If I get shot, I don't want to die because you can't pick me up. It has nothing to do with your sex or anything.
I agree. I would add that the women actually add a lot of value to the military. I've always liked working with the women in the military because they usually keep my office clean. And I don't mean like that. I mean, like, when it's only dudes, like, you've been in a locker room. Like,
no one cares when it's only dudes.
Like, dudes are just farting everywhere. They're like, oh, sorry, it just fell out, or something like that. You're like, come on, dude, like, put your dick jokes away. But as soon as a woman enters the office, everybody's like, oh, let me go put on my suit. I didn't know that there was such a lady here. And so
they actually throw their trash away.
Yeah, so I always demanded from my boss that I always have at least one female in my office. I think a couple of them thought I was being misogynist. I was like, no, because they add a lot of value. They clean up these dudes. Dudes start wearing deodorant again.
They actually wear pants to the office.
Right? It's like, Jesus. But yeah, I don't know if there's going to be any questions or anything from the audience. I did answer those 2. But we'll wrap this up here in a few minutes. I just wanted to say thank you to Havrix for even doing this with me.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for inviting me. It was fun.
It's my pleasure, man. This is the maiden voyage. I hope that we'll get some good feedback from this, and I hope that people would want more of this in the future. But obviously, we'll see.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm saving up my channel points for the next person. I can ask a bunch of troll questions that you have to answer.
Right? Answer them. I turned in my points. I want it. Do you have anything you want to plug before we do close up? Anything you're working on? Anything you want people to know?
Not really. I'm really bad at self-plugging, for being completely honest. I just feel like it's super awkward. Not that I have anything to plug right now, but like, hey, follow me on Twitch. Give me all your bits.
Give them. I want all your primes.
You've primed for a reason. Give it to your favorite small streamer.
Right. Well, I mean, this only matters being live on Twitch, so I did put your link in the chat. It's been pulled up several times throughout the chat.
Mm-hmm.
So, people were wondering who you were and stuff like that. So I wanted to make sure that I at least get a command out there for the guest.
Yeah.
When I re-upload this to YouTube tomorrow after the 24-hour embargo, I will make sure to put in your links and make sure that people know who you are. If, yeah. Dude, I hope we can do this again in the future. I obviously, I got a lot of people I want to talk to, but I'd love to have you back on in the future for sure.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah.
We live in the same time zone, so it's super easy.
Dude, seriously. And you know what? One day when this is all over and we have our shots and everything, maybe we can do this in person too.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I'd love to get a little bit bigger where I can actually build a little bit of a studio on my land and actually like have like a no shit like solution to podcasting.
You gotta get the Mark Maron garage.
Yeah. I need that. Well, guys, thank you very much for hanging out with us. Obviously, we did this live on Twitch. If you're seeing this on YouTube later, by all means, you can follow me on Twitch for more of this. Please make sure to follow Havrix on it's Havrix_GGS for GGs on Twitch. And
actually
look below.
Not what it stands for.
Wait, what? Oh, I'm sorry. Well, here, go ahead and tell it.
People assume that it stands for GG, like good games, but it's actually because my like not so official game studio is Gnome Garden Studios.
Oh, snap. You heard it here first. Now, if you stayed this long into this stream, you now know a little secret thing about it.
It works for both, though, so
it's
a double win.
Well, please drop them a follow. Either way, like I said, hopefully we'll do this again in the future. Hopefully I'll get some feedback. Guys, thank you so much. I'm going to end the stream from here. And, of course, we'll see you tomorrow. All right, guys.